All right. On the last session, as you guys arrived in Lustria and you were able to clear the colony space for habitation now by driving the Ripper Dactyls away that were hunting in this region, you found yourselves in a situation where you had to wait for the return of the Silverfell, which is the ship in which you came to the New World. However, despite the date that was set with you, they did not arrive, and so you had to search for sources of water and food for the rest of you as you waited for the boat to come back. And if it didn't, new plans had to be made. Luckily, you were able to find a couple of sources of food. You found a couple of mushrooms, which were unfortunately had some adverse effects, as well as some hogs, some wild hogs that could be hunted or bred over time. You found some weird fruits, some weird creatures. You found a old shrine that seems to be the house for a ginormous snake that is also inland. Um, and you found yourselves actually discovering the wildness of Lustria, not only of the ocean but the continent itself. You had encounters with the rain and the different dangers that it encompasses. At the end of the session, our crew had plenty of food. Actually, all of you rolled really well on looking for different sources of food. You found grubs, fruits, meat, as well as plenty of fish and I forgot the word for it. What was it? Shellfish? Because I
Mussels and
mussels,
oysters,
mussels and
jackfruit and
oysters.
boars.
Exactly. And the at the end of it, you found you saw coming from the sea the return of the Silverfell, however, in much worse state than it was previously. As they disembarked, all of you started questioning the crew, and you were informed by the captain that the main ship of your expedition actually left the fog by Skaggy. They were attacked in some way. It is very unclear because a lot of people are telling different stories, but they were mainly attacked, and the Kohler brothers, both Javier and Ludov, were made prisoners, as well as a number of other people that were in the other boats. The Silverfell, as it is the only ship that survived the journey. And apparently, the captain led a bit of an attack on the city of Skaggy to try and free the owners of the expedition. But she failed, and the ship failed. A lot of people were wounded, and they returned with really nothing to speak of. They were able to free some of the prisoners, so the number of people here grew exponentially. There's a lot of people here to work on the colony, but without a lot of the important people, it is going to be a struggle. The captain opened up with all of you and said that probably a small expedition. All of you got into agreement. That wasn't her idea, but all of you got into a certain agreement that the best course of action would be to try and rescue Ludov and Javier by having a small party go to Skaggy and try to at least see if they are alive and well, and if possible, try to liberate them, or at least liberate most of the people that are trapped there. And because a lot of the colony effort depends on them, you chose for your little party two individuals, which were part of the crew, but the crew of the other ships. One of them is a man called Igva Eggison, and another one is a large burly man called Egilf Vate. Ingvar is a old acquaintance from Egon's criminal days, working in Salzamund. And despite a few looks that indicated recognition, a lot is left unsaid and a lot is left to be discovered. You guys went to sleep as the crew worked on prepping camp for everyone, as a lot of them are still a little traumatized of being on the ship. So you guys were left to acquire supplies and to plan your trip to the city of Skaggy. I think it was also I think there was also a conversation that the route you were going to follow was going to be by the coast. So you were actually going to pass by some of the other settlements that are known to exist until you reach the city of Skaggy. I don't think I missed anything, but oh yeah. Also, Ashling found a very, very, very poisonous.
I have a pet lizard,
which is her pet lizard. Something.
His name is Tonguey.
I'm sure that won't have any future ramifications.
Not at all.
All right. Well, I think we are set to get started then.
Mm-hmm. So, as I stated, you guys wake up on the next morning. It is a sunny day in the coast of Lustria. You guys are in the soon-to-be named Clinvene, which is the new mining colony of the New World. However, right now it is just an amalgamation of tents and wounded people. You guys have been able to point to sources of food that are near the coast. So fish, mussels, jackfruit, and the hogs. And the captain basically is organizing the effort there to heal everyone and then start building the foundations of what is going to be the colony. And she has said that if you are able to, you could carry, you should take with you some supplies for the ship for the journey. However, it is quite a long journey, probably going to be a little hard to get to carry all of the supplies. Foraging on the way is going to be necessary for some of you. As we wake up on the next morning, where is Tahitakai?
Generally speaking, he'll always kind of sleep on the outskirts of the settlement, at least for the foreseeable future. So he kind of hangs out like right just within where the border to the jungle starts and the beach starts, just because he feels safer with the canopy overhead. It's what he's grown up with. He's not really... The beach invites its own dangers that he's not really interested in tempting when he doesn't have to.
Does Tahitakai have any morning rituals? Kind of like the equivalent of us, like eating breakfast, brushing our teeth, stretching, that kind of stuff.
I think for him, the thing he would do upon waking up is he would probably have some very basic stretches to make sure that all of his muscles are ready to go. And then he would, at least until he's able to successfully do so, he would basically perform something that would kind of look similar to meditation, where he is sort of attempting to establish any form of contact with either the Slan or a priest or any sort of wandering presence in a mental sense here in Lustria. Because eventually he's going to have to let his temple city know that they've arrived. But he's not really settled on a secure way to do that. In his experience, whenever the Slan want to talk to him telepathically, they reach out to him. He doesn't really have a way to phone them, so to speak. So every every morning he kind of sits and does his best to project himself, though he doesn't really understand how to do that.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind, roll me either a perception check or an intuition check. Your choice.
Let's do intuition. That's my career skill after all. What's the modifier?
Average.
Not great. -2.
Mm-hmm. You feel that there are a lot of consciousness that you touch. You are able to kind of like brush against them as you're meditating. You don't have like true magical powers, but you have a certain feeling to the Winds of Magic and to Lustria as a whole. However, you do feel that you're too far away to really influence anything. And as you said, they haven't contacted you, so either they are unable to or unwilling to contact you in this moment. And probably, but this could probably work a little closer to a city of the Lizardmen.
Gotcha.
As you wake up, go about your little meditation routine, where is Berard in this moment?
Berard is with that Imperial patrolman, the Sterlinder woman, teaching her how to the hunting and trapping in the area.
As you are with her, she is one of the official hunters that came to this land. She's a kind of a little bit of an older woman, has a curly brown hair, with the head of a fox on top of it as almost like a hat. And she has quite beautiful clothes, but still effective. They don't seem to be they seem to be very good clothing for this kind of environment. Long sleeves, heavier, a bit of a heavier gloves. Although she still has some signs of like a little bit of a prettier shirt. And this is the image of her. She's called Angela.
She's got a fox on her head.
She does not have the hawk that is on the image, but she is.
If she did, it would be named Anthony.
And
No, Antonio.
As you're kind of like exchanging experiences with her, kind of like talking, she seems to be very interested in hunting the wild hogs that you mentioned. And as you're talking, she's already opening kind of like a long box that she has, and as she opens it, you see a beautifully decorated bowl. Seems to be like a long bowl. And you see the strings kind of like tucked to the side of the box, and there is what seems to be a little bit of silk underneath the bowl itself. And as you're talking, she removes the bowl and starts stringing it.
Oh, that's a nice looking bow.
She rises as you say that and kind of like gives you a bit of a smile and says, Lord Talhofer was very generous with his gifts. He gave me this as a parting gift.
It's a fine gift. So there's that pool of fresh water I mentioned. You can find a lot of the mushrooms that the boars like, and inside it a giant snake.
Giant, like,
Like as thick as I am tall.
she takes a kind of like a step back to analyze you from top to bottom, says, should make for a fine hat. Well, I'll see about that. I think the captain had some kind of plan for it, but I'll see if I can do something about that. Otherwise, I'll warn people to stay away. Put up some signs or something like that.
Or also, if you find a cave with this purple moss growing in it, be on the lookout to see if there's an ant colony, and I'll start describing the size of the ants. There's these frog things that like to eat them, and there's a bunch of, what was it? He called them ripperdactyls? Giant bird lizard things with talons and teeth, and apparently they really hate them. And there's a nest of them probably a couple days west.
She looks as you say that. She kind of looks on the direction of west and also nods. These are truly wild lands.
I mean, the things definitely grow real big here. Turtles are huge.
And she gives you this like very excited smile as she kind of like continues stringing her bow, and you see she kind of like phases out as she's doing planning, and as she kind of like zones out and comes back, she looks to you and says, "Well, thank you for scouting ahead.
Oh, no problem.
And good luck in whatever journey you're going."
Right, I hear it's not really a pleasant place we're going to.
She gives a somber look, and she kind of looks around and says, "Well, no, it is not a pleasant place to be. And it's not a pleasant place to die either. I would not want to die in such a place, even though there's something to be said about the combat of it."
Was it that bad?
She looks towards you and she gives this horrified look that you have seen in veterans of war that have come back from conflicts near your city. They have a lot of shields. It's very frustrating.
Well,
Also, the city seems to talk. It's horrible, honestly. It's disgusting.
I'll look forward to coming back from it then.
She kind of nods to that and doesn't say anything.
Right, but after that, Barad will head back to camp to get ready to leave.
She picks up like a bundle of arrows, which you do notice seems to be like at half. She's quite missing a lot of the arrows she had, and she kind of like puts the quiver over her shoulder, as well as the bow, and starts heading towards the woods. At that, Egon, where are you in the early morning?
He is actually, and this is probably ill-advised, but he is going to try and clean himself off ocean. Now, that means not going far enough out to, well, to sea, because he doesn't know how to swim. So he's taking
You're going.
he's gonna go splashing on the beach.
Gotcha. You take a bit of a step, and you see a couple of the men who are also doing that. Like there are a couple of people that are still a bit dirty from the expedition that were so tired that they just like slept, and now they have this like bed hair and horrible stench. And they're now on the beach, kind of like scrubbing themselves, and there's some rudimentary bars of soap that are being passed around as people start scrubbing themselves.
Scrub.
As you're doing that, you do see a person getting real close to you. You kind of feel the wave as the person gets close, and you do recognize Ingvar.
All right.
Didn't give much of a description. He has like a slicked hair backwards, a couple of earrings, and a bit of a scruffy beard. He has no shirt on, and there's a bunch of little scars on his chest. And as he comes close, he kind of like politely asks for a bar of soap and starts scrubbing. And you see he kind of like leans towards you, and you're quite far away. There's no one really close to you. He's the only one who really got close. So you are what should I call you?
Norsemen.
Oh yes, but it's not every day you find a fellow, if you get my a fellow colleague, if you get my meaning.
Oh, I thought I read you. Hold on, is my mic picking up properly?
I am listening to you. You're a little low.
No,
You're a little lower.
Let me check something. Yeah. I need to change a setting real quick. Voice and video. Let's see.
Little image of Ingvar.
There we go. That should do it. Hey, what a guy. I take it he doesn't have a pint in his hand.
He doesn't. I am cannibalizing other arts.
Yeah, and the best part is I can literally point you towards every book that you've used so far, but hey, let's not. It's fine.
Look, man.
All right, nerd.
Nerd.
Oh, that's for fun fact. That's from Rough Night and Hard Days, the first adventure. Boom, nailed it.
It is. Where's the Angela art from?
She is from Hirelings of the Empire.
Very good.
Nailed it. So, Egon looks around, making sure nobody else is within eyesight. Earshot rather, and says, "So, let me guess. Back from Salsamund."
He nods.
All right, we're getting somewhere. Acquaintance of Dag.
He pauses a little as you say that, and after like a good solid 5 seconds, he nods again. And
Alright,
don't
good.
need to roll intuition. He's fully lying.
Oh yeah. All right, good stuff. Now we're getting somewhere. So, which part of the operation were you of? Oh, sorry. Which part? Wait, hold on. Let me rephrase that. What part of the operation were you?
Well, he thinks for a second, and after a while, he does go, sales.
Sales. Egon looks unconvinced.
He's not very convincing. I don't blame you.
No.
After you say that, he does kind of like interject and says, "Look, you're welcome to say something about it, but I am very aware that you're here, much like I am, for unsavory reasons. So I just want to have a little bit of a gentleman's agreement that you will stay quiet about me, and I will stay quiet about you. That's all I wanted to say.
Do you want a job?
Well, yes. Are you? Do you? He looks confused for a second, and like,
I'm looking for people. So
Sure.
far, you're the second most trustworthy person I have, only because I have something on you.
he bites his lip and agrees, and says, "A job would be great."
Good,
Does-
you're hired.
Quick interviewee.
Hey,
Uh,
I'm excellent at reading people, what can I say?
he kind of smiles and nods and says, "Okay, so we're good, right?"
Yeah, we're good. If you don't rat me out, I won't rat you out. And besides, I already have someone with my last name, well, my actual name, and if anyone goes asking around for that, I can just point them in their direction.
That's great. That's awesome.
Good.
What is the job?
Hired
No, I'm
muscle.
hired already. No,
I don't know what else you're good for, so we'll have to leave it at that.
I can show you my assets one of these days, or perhaps in this suicidal journey we're going.
Poor choice of words, considering where we're standing.
He looks down and is like, Rexspiel is a little weird for me still, but you know what I mean.
Sure.
You
Alright,
do know what I mean, right?
hand me the soap.
And you see he kind of looks down and gives you this this piece of soap that already has some hairs coming out of it.
Splash, splash, splash.
And he slowly kind of like starts moving away as he's finishes scrubbing himself. Did a poor job of it, by the way. Didn't stay there for long enough to be truly clean. But you know,
Well, if Egon picked up any habit in Zelsenmund, it was that they do Nordlanders do love bathing themselves, which he didn't get at first. It felt very very pointless to just constantly be scrubbing oneself down. But in that case, he's very happy that he was able to find somebody to play to look scary in the general store. And he finishes up washing, and then goes to lie in the sand to dry himself off, and it does not take very long because it is very warm.
yeah. As the day starts and like you are truly in the early morning, the sun is already beaming in the sky. Which is something that kind of like starts getting used to, as where you're from, usually it's a little bit chilly on the mornings. Here, it starts to be really, really hot right by the morning.
Oh boy.
And as we shift from that, we actually shift to Aisling. Aisling, where are you in this beautiful morning?
Well, I can breathe, I promise. So first things first, I am actually tending to all of the injured for the morning. And I would be just frying up some of the fish. It doesn't have any type of seasoning or anything on it. It's just fried fish, like literally stick through fish on fire, because I'm not a cook. I know how to survive. And as I'm like handing it out to everyone, I'm just gonna look over towards Tahitakai, who's like on the ground twitching, I assume. I'm not sure what that lizard is doing. It looks a bit weird. I'm gonna notice
Twitching.
that
What?
I'm gonna notice that Victor, what's your character's name that I know him by?
Manfred.
Manfred is getting very close with another man and asking him for soap. I assume that they like each other. And I'm gonna just go back to tending to the wounded.
Reasonable.
A
I mean, there's a
very
lot
reasonable
of
assumption.
people to deal with. We have a big
There is.
crew.
Roll a heal check for me. Actually,
One.
if you wouldn't mind,
one.
a heal check and a perception check
All right.
as you're going
let's
by them.
see.
And use
Heal.
average.
Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. I was like, why is my screen not changing? And then I noticed I was actually looking at the stream and not my screen.
There we go.
This stream is non-interactive.
Now with that attitude.
Ooh, close.
I am actually going to use a fortune point to re-roll it.
Starting off strong.
Wow.
Hey, it's a success.
Technically worked.
Woo!
The best type of working.
All right, and then perception. No, I'm not paying attention at all. I just saw the lizard twitching on the ground, so I'm just like, okay. I'm gonna leave a cooked fish next to him.
Okay.
Which references?
You, as you're kind of like checking up on people, a lot of these wounds don't require active attention. A lot of it are just like people are bleeding, or people have like broken bones or open cuts and things like that. You do a great job at managing all of this. You are. This is kind of like one of the places that you have some experience in, which is basically going around, seeing what people need, if they need food, if they need to change their bandages.
Oh, and I'm gonna slap mushrooms away from people.
You slap some mushrooms away. There's some
Don't eat
people
that.
trying to lick. There are some people trying to lick frogs, like random frogs on the ground.
Put that down. Tahitakai said that was bad too. I don't know what that is, but that's a weird color. Put that down.
And as you're dealing with the
poisonous lizard on shoulder.
man shoulder, yeah, fully scaly back lizard on the shoulder. One of the things
don't
you
insult
do,
Tonguey.
one of the things you do notice as you're kind of like passing around is that these wounds, they were from, like, a lot of the wounds here were from close range combat. There are some sword cuts, there are some like pieces of bone that were shattered by like axe hits and things like that. And you see that a lot of the combat that happened was like very melee based. You do not see a single person that was shot by an arrow. You do not see someone that was hit by a slingshot. You do not see anyone that was shot by a pistol, which is both good and bad. Of course, being shot by a pistol is usually worse. But a lot of it is like very, very close range combat cuts and bruises and broken bones, which are very fixable but take a while to heal.
Okay. Well, at least most of this is pretty manageable. I'm gonna go up to the guys with the cuts, the sword slashes, and just bind them together. Just because that'll heal a lot faster than the broken bones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you manage your attention to them, and they kind of a lot of them you do see seem to have a little bit of a broken, seem to be a little broken by the experience. A lot of them have very vague eyes as they're kind of like looking into the horizon, and they don't really interact with you. They thank you and kind of like answer questions, but they're not engaging with you.
Makes sense.
And yeah, after a while, you are able to kind of like do whatever you can here. And now it's just like, it's mostly nursing job. Now it's just trying to keep the wounds clean, trying to avoid infection, things like that. And you do see that the surgeon who came with you guys during the journey is already on that. She's performing some surgeries, or at least you expect. The screams are very demoralizing, but you know, has to be done. And yep, you do see, but yeah, you do notice that a lot of the people here were wounded in this way, and they're still quite a long way from recovery. Some of them have like fully missing limbs and things like that, especially the more catatonic ones, the ones that are like fully out. They all seem to have very grievous wounds.
Well, sucks for them.
It does. Well, and with that, as all of you kind of like do your own things for the early morning, you all see as the captain beckons you all, and you see Ingvar and Egulf, kind of like with some sling bags and some of their equipment on them. On the ground, you see some smoked fish and some other provisions that were from the travels. You see some like some bread, some very very stony bread, and among other provisions for the journey. And the captain still has doesn't have an arm. She points to the provisions and says, "These should suffice for about 10 days of journey. Other than that, I think you're probably gonna have to get some from the forest itself."
Glances over at Berard. Doesn't say anything.
Berard looks at the stony bread, thinking of 10 days of eating that. I think we'll manage something.
One cheese with us.
We got cheese with us. One cheese.
Looks around. Where?
Tahitakai will quirk his head and say, "What cheese?
One cheese.
What?"
So you said you got one cheese with us.
No, you're mistaken. He's saying he wants cheese.
One cheese. No cheese.
Oh, you can't have cheese. You know, it actually does a number on my stomach, too.
Tahitakai not. No cheese.
Alright, good to know.
Understood? No cheese. I think you're spared, as I look at the stony bread.
Captain looks down and whispers, "They're dead."
Probably.
Oh,
Force
cheese.
heading into the jungle.
Cheese or no cheese, you should be able to reach the city. Well, from what I heard of the city, it is a very dangerous place to be. So be careful, try to stay out of sight and out of mind. Luckily, nobody's going to be able to see you, really. The city doesn't have a watch or a guard. To be fair, calling it a city is a stretch. But still, as you can see, and she kind of points to the arm and the camp of wounded. They are a bunch of assholes. So be careful.
Alright. We can deal with assholes.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Besides, I can keep you guys going no matter what. Or I'll keep you guys going no matter what.
Could insert joke
Nice.
here, but won't. Moving on.
Coward.
The captain just looks at you, wishes you good luck, and goes back to her business. And you are left to your own devices.
Alright. Looks at Tahitakai and says, All right, Twintail. Which direction to the Norse place?
Follow coast. We go south.
Don't you mean north?
Wait, is it
Skaggy
north?
Up.
There's no Skaggy on this map.
Skaggy is right here.
Ooh. Yes, can't you see the note? It's on the map. None of you can see Skaggy.
No.
My stuff's not working. Just a second. Look, everything is experimental here. We're all having fun.
Indeed.
You should.
Oh yes, chat. Enjoy
Science.
the fancy new map. That's gonna have little things pop up on it. It's cool.
You should be able to
There it
see
is.
the symbol for it.
Hey,
Yeah, there we go.
there it is.
The map I was using just straight up doesn't have Skaggy. I had to open up another map.
Yeah, that's true. It cuts off right where Skaggy is.
For some stupid reason. I would
Yeah.
never understand. Anyway. So yeah.
Simple to follow. Coast north.
Oh, that makes it way easier. Sweet.
Good for Joel.
Well, as long as we don't have to trek through the damn jungle again, I'll be fine. And he is very happy he doesn't have to get his machete out again. Alright.
Tahitakai will kind of look out towards the ocean and say, we'll be exposed. Be cautious.
Well, you heard the lizard. Let's get to it. And off we go, marching north. Like northeast-ish.
Yep, at least for the foreseeable bit, we'll just follow on up.
As you guys start making your way, I am going to explain a little bit of how the mechanics are going to work for the journey. This is for all of you and also for those in chat that are not familiar with the Lustrian rules. What we have currently is what is called a expedition. An expedition is divided in stages. Basically, whenever someone is trying to travel from one place to the other, there are a number of stages that are necessary to overtake. This journey, usually journey between settlements is like one stage. It's just like one stage because it's usually an easier thing. But as it is your first time in the region, it is going to be a little bit of a longer journey, especially because you are going by land and not by sea. So it does make it a little harder to travel. The journey is going to take 4 stages. Each of the stages is going to have a weather, an event, and then you can all react to the event to the event in the weather with endeavors. However, making endeavors risks fatigue. So it is sometimes, as you're tracking, it is not an easy journey, and doing things makes it harder to continue journeying because traveling to Lustria is one of the worst places to travel. It is one of the worst places you could ever travel. So this first journey is going to be kind of like the first leg of the journey, and so we're gonna start with that. And you guys are going to be able to see the stage you are in the map by the little drawings of the kind of like this red dotted line that I'm going to be drawing on a map, just to make it easier to see that you guys are moving upwards. Each stage is, the book doesn't have a good, like, it doesn't have a specific number for how many days is a stage. I am going to be using 5 days just to give you guys a little bit more of an understanding of how long this is going to take. So traveling to Skaggy is going to take full 20 days, as it is 4 stages of travel. Also, yeah, I have updated. It is somewhere. Still find it. I have a functioning map, which I'm going to be tracking the different days. If you open the little journey notes on the left of the screen, where the icons are, it should be the 4th one from what I'm looking at the different symbols. There's a little symbol for a calendar with SC on it. It's on the left of the screen, where there are like the token controls, the little ruler with the pencil, and then the 4th one is a bookmark.
I see it.
It should open a little calendar, which is the current day, and I'm gonna be updating it as you guys go by the different stages of the traveling.
Okay, yeah, I see it now. Yeah, this does the job.
The simple calendar module has a extension for the Warhammer Imperial calendar. So there we go. Just a little bit of bookkeeping that I wanted to keep you guys updated. Who is feeling lucky?
I'm not. Let me roll.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
Roll me a D100, please. All right. Awesome.
Oh boy.
Exactly as expected.
Delightful.
Amazing. So as you guys are starting your journey, it is a beautiful day. The first day of journey passes without a problem. The heat starts to be a little annoying, but after a while you do start feeling this like very cold breeze coming from the sea, and it is very comforting. Until the lightning begins. Again. The next 4 days of
Thunderbolts and
travel.
lightning? Very, very
Very,
frightening.
very frightening.
Yeah.
Mamma mia. And as you're walking by the on the journey, it is raining like hell. It is a hellish walk. Even by the beach, as you are going, the winds start picking up the sand and even some rocks, and it starts going wild in the direction of your faces. It is a torrential downpour.
Oh boy.
Hey, would you mind if we took a break? This is a bit much to walk in.
Can I attempt to seek shelter?
There is a fine shelter endeavor.
Oh, sweet. That'll do. I'm not great at it, but you know, yeah, I'll throw a thing at it. So, what's the modifier for this?
It is a difficult outdoor survival roll.
Oh boy. 20% chance. Let's go. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Nope. Let's throw a reroll on that just cause.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, hey! Look at that. All right. My eagle eyes have availed us again.
Mm-hmm. As you start making camp, you actually find a little nearby the beach. There's a large rock formation. You know, by the sea, by the beach, where there's like just this large amalgamation of rocks, kind of like silky rocks, one piled on top of the other. And on them, as you can kind of look, you can see a little cave that is naturally formed by these huge rocks being piled on top of each other.
Yeah, that sounds actually really nice right about now.
As you are walking towards them, you kind of like get to it, and at first it is very refreshing. And then the buzzing begins. And the scratching.
Around. Crabs!
There are a gigantic, like, mist of insects, of mosquitoes,
Thanks, I hate it.
that begins kind of like harassing you as you are here. And on the outside, there is lightning striking the sand. I
Oh, this is fun.
need everyone to make me a challenging cool test, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh boy.
Nice.
Holy crap! Oh, do I?
Very close. Let me tell the results, and then you can either re-roll or keep your results. For this expedition, those that fail will have a -10 penalty to fellowship, as parts of your body, like your arms, legs, and face, start swelling as a reaction to the mosquito bites.
I am gonna.
Anything that uses fellowship is going to take a -10 penalty.
I'm gonna throw a fortune point +1, turn it into a +0, so that I succeed.
Okay.
Same.
Berard,
Alright,
you're
so-
keeping your roll?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Berard, it is hell. You are covered in mosquitoes. Your fellow friends are able to kind of like stave them off. Eventually, you build a little bit of a campfire, and with the smoke, it phases out the mosquitoes. But it is itching like nothing that you ever felt before.
Oh, I hate this place.
I don't know. Tuggy seems pretty happy. Just see him licking all of the mosquitoes out of the air.
Oh my god, she has native mosquito defense.
I'm sure he's very happy.
Wait, is Tahitakai also eating the mosquitoes?
That is very likely.
There's just a bunch of tongues going right now.
He doesn't have the fancy chameleon tongue, but like if he can catch one, he does not have any qualms about eating it.
Well, then they should clear out the cave in no time.
Yeah, with the smoke and the kind of like the smoke and the tongues from the different lizards in the room, it eventually clears out. But Berard has a sweet blood, and is
Oh, no.
particularly affected by it.
Note to self: don't let Berard go to the Vampire Coast.
So as you're walking, as was said to you, you have 10 days worth of supplies. Each stage takes 5 days. So during this part of the stage, do you wish to forage for food, or are you eating your provisions?
I think we should forage.
Tahitakai will attempt to forage.
I will say, as a point of notice, just for the mechanics, this is not discouraging, just informing. Anyone that fails an endeavor gains the fatigued condition. There's a make camp endeavor for removing fatigued conditions, but it is just something that I would like to make kind of like all of you should keep this in mind, that failing the tests does give fatigued condition. So, Tahitakai, do you wish to go for foraging?
Other question. it's one person doing one endeavor per stage, correct?
It is going to be everyone doing endeavors if they wish to. Endeavors are optional.
Oh,
I just
meant
wanted to. I just did the weather and the encounter just to kind of set up the scene as you're going. But
Oh,
everyone has a chance to do anything.
My endeavor was to find the shelter.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm done.
So-
I can't do anymore.
Egan-
What
Actually,
other
for
endeavors are there?
so make camp is if anybody has fatigue condition, one of us can use a heal check or a difficult outdoor survival to remove fatigue from themselves or an ally. You can map the route if you're into map making, which I don't think any of us are particularly good at. Keep watch, prevent us from running into dangers. Practice skill is you can take a difficult check on any skill that you have, and then the next time you use that skill, you can reverse the roll. For one time only. Then
Does
there's
anybody have a fatigue condition?
not yet. And then find shelter, which Egon just did successfully, and forage for food. I am actually going to go. Tahitakai is going to keep watch, is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what I was gonna do.
Gerard
So,
can forage for food.
Babe, if Berard fails to find food, you could make a camp and try and help him get rid of the fatigue.
That is true.
I'll say for the
Ooh,
purposes
yikes.
of the game, because the endeavor doesn't specify. For the purposes of this, any fatigue that is removes one fatigue that should be gained by a failure. So if you want to all roll and then one of you roll for make camp, for example, we cancel out the fatigues.
Cool.
I
failed.
don't think it's supposed to be like that, but I'll say that it is. You failed, so one
with a
that would
minus
be one fatigue for you.
6.
The Tahitakai just exploded.
Uh-huh. Cool.
You know how
Yeah,
hard it is to keep watch through torrential downpour? His eyes are just straining.
We look over at him. He's just sleeping. He finds rain relaxing.
He's got brain ASMR.
So, I believe Berard was going to scavenge for food.
Yep,
Or
outdoor
forage for-
survival, challenging,
Minus 10.
It is difficult.
difficult.
Most rolls for Endeavor are difficult.
All right. I'll use a fortune point to reroll.
They really do set you up for failure in this.
Yeah, they really do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no food, and we are completely blind.
Yep.
All right, babe, save us, please.
And 2 of us are now fatigued.
Okay, so here we go. Are you ready for this?
Actually, I
You
will
said
allow
it's
this to be
difficult?
removed. It is difficult, yes.
Okay, got this.
Berard is not.
Why
Oh,
can't I
fatigued.
roll under a 70? Why can I not roll under? Oh my god. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna reroll this.
Berard. As it was an impressive failure,
Well,
You
you got
actually
under a
gained
70.
Oh, Jesus,
poised
fuck.
condition instead of the fatigued condition, as you eat something poisonous that you should not have. So we're
Bummer.
starting off good, starting off awesome.
Yeah, off to a solid start.
Tahitakai and Aisling are fatigued. Berard is poisoned.
Neat.
Doesn't he have to like roll endurance or keep taking damage?
That was what I was going to say. Berard, I am going to need you to test endurance or heal with the -10 penalty to try and remove the condition. Each failure, you're going to lose 1 wound.
All right.
You're going to keep rolling until you succeed. Alternatively, you can spend a resolve to just remove the poison condition.
All right. So this poisoned, is it like the poison condition where I have a -10 and then the difficult test? Is another
Yes.
minus 10? Alright.
I think on this one, the minus 10 from the poison is already counted in.
It is going to be counted on the sheet because as you click for doing, but it specifically says you suffer 1 wound, spend resolve or test endurance or heal with the conditions plus 10 minus 10 modifier to remove the condition.
Yeah,
So
but
it
it's
is,
not difficult on top of that. So it's only a cumulative of minus 10, not a minus 20, right?
To be, yeah, that is correct. I'm sorry.
okay.
It doesn't specify a minus 10 for.
Oh, I guess it would
anything
depend.
else.
Yeah, I guess it would depend
would
on the
be-
difficulty of the poison. But
my interpretation is that if it doesn't say the difficulty, it is challenging. So just a minus 10.
Oh boy.
It's a failure. So 1 damage.
Hey, there you go.
hey,
So you're going to lose 2 wounds because you take 1 wound by being poisoned, and then 1 for the failure. So 2 wounds.
2 wounds.
And you no longer have the poison condition.
And now I'm fatigued. Hooray.
What can I say? It's just a wild place.
Alright, well, when we get to Skaggy, I'm gonna have a 7 to, like, charm people.
Possibly.
fine.
yes.
we never know. We might be able to remove some with making camp.
As you guys continue walking, Tahitakai, if you wouldn't mind, please make me a perception check.
Okie dokie.
It's average. Probably gonna have the penalty for fatigue, but it is average.
All right, so I
As
got
you're
plus 2.
walking, yeah, as you're walking by the forest, the kind of like on the coast of the jungle, you get to a clearing. You're a little higher, similar place to where the colony was built, just a little bit of a plateau on the side on the coast. And lightning flashes, and to your left, above the trees, you see something. You can't really identify what it is, but as lightning flashes, it flashes a second later. So lightning flashes, illuminates everything, and there's this object above the trees that lights up a second later. However, it is deep into the jungle, and it would probably add an additional stage of your journey.
Wait, say that one more time?
It is, however, as you look at it, it is deep into the jungle. You can only see the edge above the trees, but you can see it is far away.
See what far away?
You see a object above the trees that you can't really look very well because, again, it is night. But lightning flashes, and this object flashes in like a white light 1 second after the light.
Okay. Tahitakai will point. Is it still pouring down rain, or has it lightened up a bit?
It is pouring rain,
Okay.
torrentially.
Tahitakai will point and say, something there. Structure.
Is it important?
Could be cover.
Was it full of more bloody mosquitoes?
No, it couldn't be. They all got you.
Look, if it gets us out of this damn rain, I'll go for anything.
Tahitakai, check ahead. Follow. I'm gonna make my
Alright.
way towards it.
All right.
Okay.
The rest of the party follows suit.
You start trekking through the jungle, lightning and kind of striking different trees around you. The rain pouring. It is not pouring like just making you wet. It is pouring in a way that is painful and difficult to walk. It seems that no matter where you are, no matter what direction you are, you're always fighting against the rain. Eventually, you get to a little bit of a clearing. The clearing is a couple of kilometers wide, and you see this massive structure, this spike that comes from the earth towards the sky. It is buzzing as you arrive. Not an in-character description, but an outer character description. If you get to like a power plant, or like a something that is like high electricity, like high voltage,
Oh,
has
like
that
hair
like
standing on end?
like yeah, your hairs. Tahitakai doesn't feel that because he doesn't have hair, but like
Sad.
you
Yeah,
start
feathers.
feeling this like static, and you start hearing the buzzing. It is like loud as fuck.
It's making my teeth itch.
It is a golden obelisk that rises from the earth into the sky, fully covered in different symbols that you recognize, Tahitakai, as these
Intel.
like different symbols and images, but around it, that's why I said it was kilometers. There are literal clouds of thunder. The area around it is this tornado, this like wild thing of sharpnel, like pieces of wood and stone and earth that are circling this object.
Tis a silly place. We should go somewhere else.
But yeah.
And
Twintail, what are we looking at?
So I can recognize secret signs, but I can't read. So
How does that work?
that's a fascinating thing.
so from a secret signs standpoint, for lizardmen, like should I make a secret sign check
I think that would be a good idea.
to see if there's any indication of like a safe way to travel through the storm that's been marked out or something, or a warning? What's the difficulty modifier?
It is going to be average.
Ooh. Yeah. No, -4.
Spend your only fortune?
No.
This like movement of wind and sharpnel, it's wild and strong, and you can't get a good read of the symbols. It is not that you can't identify them, it is just that you cannot see them clearly for what they are.
Okay, he'll say, Waddle unstable. Head back. Not safe.
Alright, lead the way.
I'm gonna make my way back to the coast because this is clearly a bad idea. And I'm not looking. I am not looking to get shredded today.
The only thing you do notice before leaving, as you do have second sight, this tower is brimming with Azir, which is the celestial wind.
That will be super helpful information for later.
And that's what we're calling the business worldview. Yeah. I have marked the place on the map. I just put a question mark on it.
I
And then
cannot
now
see
I
the
am-
question mark.
Look,
There, it has appeared.
There it is.
Look, it's a process, okay? Well, you keep journeying to north, following the coast. Eventually, you do arrive in a settlement. The area kind of clears out, but before the area clears out and the rain stops for a while, the stench hits you. You smell this horrible smell of putrefied flesh. It's one of those smells that are like, hopefully something died, because otherwise it is a disaster. The stench is horrible to all of you. And after the woods clear a little, you do see a little settlement sprung from a deep swamp. The swamp is foggy and bubbling as you look into it. Some structures are built in what seems to be almost like a platform of wood in the middle of it, and there are some little roads of this like planks of wood that go from one side to the other, kind of like leaving the swamp. And the sea doesn't reach the settlement before becoming this sludge of a swamp. Welcome to Swamp Town.
Woo!
I hate all these insects.
Will only get worse.
You're telling us this now.
He's gonna sort of look and say, "Still water, mean insect. Move water, not as many."
All right, fine. Do we see like humans walking around?
You see people. It's far away from you, and there's a little bit of a fog, but you do see movement of people, and you see signs of civilization. You do see like structures that are structured to be like houses and commerce and things like that.
Oh, civilization in all its glory, Egon says with no small hint of sarcasm.
Cho, need rest.
Rest, maybe some food. Who knows? I may be able to get us a deal on something.
Tahitakai, wait, heal.
That's not a bad idea. We'll probably get some more supplies to keep us well fed and healed up.
All right,
patched
let's
up.
go. We'll be back in no time, Twintail.
He will bob his head up and down in assent.
All right, we head into town.
Can I go for a arboreal stealth check as Tahitakai just kind of wants to stay out of sight?
Go ahead.
Swimming through the swamp.
Oh, I'm gonna stay in the trees. I ain't going into that water yet. Well, actually, that's not a terrible idea.
I mean, you are amphibious, so
true.
By the way, for a visual of how the swamp looks, it is, if you guys remember in Lord of the Rings, when they're traversing a swamp that is like has like dead people inside. It is the water is sludgier. It is like fully like a liquidy mud.
I was thinking
that is kind of like purpley in color. That is also. I didn't want to ruin my expectations with Shrek, but it is not incorrect.
I'm just gonna stay. I'm gonna stay in the jungles for now. But if y'all take too long or I become worried, I will probably swim in.
Sneak, 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 sneak. Hey, look at that.
Alright. You guys walk around, and as you begin, plus 6, yeah, because of our you guys kind of like walk towards Swamp Town. There is no shortage of mosquitoes here. It is putrid and heavy, and still hot. It is like this horrible stench followed by horrible heat, and the mist is not like a cool mist that comes from the morning. It is this like damp mist that almost comes from pollution. Kind of looks like if air could really smell, and then that smell become fog. It is horrible.
Oof.
The
Right.
humidity is choking, and some of you do begin to choke and cough a little as you're going, as the air kind of like enters your lungs but doesn't continue.
What is the? This might sound a bit stereotyping a bit, but what is the general nationality, shall we say, of the folks around here?
You could try getting a little closer to people as you're arriving, and you could check them off if you want to.
All right, I'll give him a glance, see what we're dealing with here.
Make a perception check. Any one of the
How-
three that are entering can rule either intuition or perception. Average.
Mine are exactly the same, so I'll just. Yeah, never mind. They all look like the stallions to me. Wow.
They look horrible, honestly. The people you can really see that are the people that are not fully avoiding you are people that are sick, dying, or dead. There's no shortage of cadavers on the street.
Holy crap! That sounds like heaven for our nun.
I don't see any problems here.
Do
You
wanna
see some
roll?
people. You do see some people kind of like walking around and going by boat to some
doing
other
perception,
areas.
Yeah.
Perception or intuition, whatever you choose.
Hey, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Fools and
Uh,
corpses.
The members of the settlement seem to be actually kind of weird. They have a lot of different uh they have a lot of different appearances. They don't have like a unified look of or nationality. But a lot of them do seem to be speaking to each other in a very, very accented Reichspiel. Although sometimes you see people talking to each other who are 100% not speaking in Reichspiel. They're speaking some other language. But it is hard to identify. They don't seem to have a specific nationality between them. You do see a couple of buildings. None of the buildings have like signs on them, but you can clearly see some of them seem to be taverns. And one of the bigger ones, which is a very tall cabin, seems to be an apothecary. You see a guy with some flasks in front of him, hunched down. It is one of the places that is like the taverns and the apothecary seem to be like the main places that are inhabited here. There are also other little like smaller places, but these are the bigger businesses.
Egon points towards the big building and says, we'll most likely be able to get some information in there, and possibly a drink, and maybe out of this heat.
We should also make a stop at the apothecarian. We might be able to get some healing poultices.
True, you might need those. Alright, we head towards the big tavern thing.
Okay. As you enter, the place is weird. There's a moldy smell as you enter. It is a large building, but it seems to be multiple buildings that were built on top of each other. But not as in like you build a second floor, as if the first fell and then you built another, and then the second one fell and then you built another. So there's like a difference in material. There are wood, stone, and mud walls. The places, there are no places for anyone to sit. There are just some small places that could be called like tables. They're just like pieces of wood that seem to be nailed to a little posting of stone that seems to be part of some bigger structure. It was lapidated into this. It is full, but silent. There's no music playing. There's no loud singing or building. It is just... there's no like loud singing or talking. It is just this stale atmosphere as you enter.
Wow. I've seen gardens of more cheerful.
Have you?
Yeah. One time, a local asshole fell off a cliff and died. There was a party in his honor.
Rod will look around at the gathered congregation. Well, from what I've seen, there's not much to celebrate.
All right. Is there anything even approaching a bar in this heap?
There's a side structure that seems to be a couple of boats that have holes in them that are like overturned and then turned into the bar, or at least a place for people to leave like cups and bottles. And you do see a guy that kind of looks like an innkeeper or like a tavern keeper or something. He's the
Better
one
than nothing.
standing.
All right. I walk towards. The group walks towards the bar. And are there seats, or do you just stand?
A lot of people are standing, but also a lot of people are like sitting on the ground.
Oh, great. All right, approaching the mess of an innkeeper.
The
Greetings. Do you speak any Reichspiel?
Ta madre. He spits on like a bucket that is like overflowing with sludge and says,
Did anyone catch that?
I speak Reichspiel, yes.
Ah, good, excellent. Perhaps you can assist us. My traveling companions and I are in much need of some refreshment and perhaps a sit down.
He looks behind you. Plenty of floor. You can sit. Refreshments. We have no fresh, but we do have drink. And he grabs 3 cups, and he grabs like a bottle, like one of those oldie bottle of moonshine that you kind of like. There's a little place for you to hook on the side of the mouth of the bottle. And he puts it, and there's a large head of a snake inside with this like brownish liquid going to the top.
Looks lovely.
Sangre de apostador. Gambler's blood.
All right, I'll bite. How much for 3 glasses or cups?
Oh.
He looks around. A
no,
nickel
that's just
each.
for me.
If you take it, you drink it. 3 nickels.
No. All right. He he hands. I thought about haggling, but I'm not gonna haggle like pennies. All right, goes to.
I will.
All right,
No, I'm joking.
I slide him the 3 pennies, and I take the cup. Does it sting the nostrils when I smell it?
It does.
Oh boy, yeah, this is gonna go down smooth. You can already tell. All right, so bottoms up.
Make a drink alcohol check.
All right. Oh wow, I'm actually decent at that.
Consume alcohol. Sorry.
Yes.
Washling, is that safe?
Ooh, you know what?
No.
I am gonna throw my last fortune at that. So I am now barely succeeding. Ooh. Oh, that'll put some hair on your chest. Woo!
None of that is safe. The
I
bottle's
slam.
dirty, the floor's dirty, everything is dirty. It looks like there's 2 inches of... I don't even want to know on that barrel. This cup looks like it hasn't been cleaned in ages.
Adds extra flavor.
That
The rotting snake head was what I was thinking of, but thank you for pointing out all the other things.
the rotting snakehead might be the cleanest thing in this.
Señora, si puedes mejor abre un bar. And he spits again.
Do either of you speak foreign?
We are foreign right now.
That's not what I meant.
Well, then
Right,
what did
fine.
you mean?
Well, did anyone understand what he just said?
What did he say?
I don't know, some gobbledygook.
Well, then clearly you didn't understand it.
Well, do you think Ingvar knows what he said?
We could ask Tahitakai. He knows some random language. Hey, Tahitakai, what did he say?
He's not here.
He's
I am
not here.
I am not with you.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. Never mind.
Tahitakai is chilling far away.
I'm out in the jungle
Yeah, he's-
enjoying some peace and quiet.
He's lounging on some
Tahitakai
damn
was with
branch
us. He'd
somewhere.
understand.
Maybe. Anyway, I didn't catch your name, friend. What was it?
He spits and kind of like munches on something. Draven.
He's very fond of spitting.
Draven,
Might have an inner
pleasure.
mouth infection.
Yes, I take it he's missing a bunch of teeth.
Eres un doctor?
No, I was asking out of character. Is Draven missing teeth?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's like he has brass teeth on the in place of like several of them, but not all of them. So it is there are several like missing places.
Oh,
He's like fully bald, but there's like a grease on his head. There's like this greasy covering, and he has. It is difficult to say if it is his breath or if the bar just smells like this, but it is horrible.
Say, Draven, we'll only be stopping here for a short while. Is there any place where one can buy supplies for the road, or lack thereof?
He kind of like shakes his head for a while and says, "Tienes apotecario pescador?" And he looks down, kind of like thinking. And for a while, there is a herb man outside, and there are. And then he stops a while. There is eel. And he points towards the kind of like in the direction of the sea. There are people catching eel you could buy eel.
Ooh, Egon thinks back. He could really go for some jellied eel right now. Right. So, thank you for that. We'll go speak with her man outside.
He frowns at you. No,
I
thank
I
you. Fine.
I I wanted to I wanted to say muchas gracias, but Egon doesn't know in the Estalian.
He hits on the table and says, "Dinero."
All right, fine.
No information free.
Well, in that case, Egon is more than happy to slide him 5 extra pennies.
He looks at the pennies. Let me ask you something. Out of character, but as like an impression of Egon. How discreet are you when you're moving around coins in your pockets?
Honestly, he can palm coins like he palms cards fairly effectively. So he mostly he mostly holds them in a closed fist, and then he slides them over under his palm, and over whatever surface is being used fits as a countertop.
Gotcha. If you don't mind, could you make a sleight of hand check?
I don't actually have sleight of hand. It's a advanced skill.
I'll
I
say
can make
gamble
an
then.
I can make a actually gamble works too.
I'll say gamble because it is a similar skill, and card sharp will apply.
Oh snap! All right. Funnily enough, my intelligence and dexterity are exactly the same, so I don't have to change it. So that's fine. Is this average?
It is challenging
Oh snap! Challenging.
because it is contested.
Gamble and sleight of hand. Oh damn! I'll take it. -0 is better than nothing.
He looks you kind of like up and down and gets a little closer and says, "There is tax for traveler, but there is also backdoor."
I wasn't made aware of any taxes.
You are now.
All right. How do you get past them?
He looks at the pennies that you gave him and he puts them on the counter and says, 5 for shinier one. Un de la plata.
And how exactly is this getting past taxes?
Because I am the one who takes taxes.
Oh my. Well, in that case, he goes through his coin purse, scoops up 5 shillings, and slides them over, discreet like.
He gives you a very wild and very teethless smile. But he only takes 2. He slides the 3 back. And he looks to the side and chucks one of these silver shillings for a guy. And you see, like, across from the, like, to your side, one of the guys that is, like, sitting on the ground. As he grabs the shilling, he puts a dagger back onto a sheath on his back. And just pockets the silver shilling. Looks like, kind of like, goes back to conversation.
Armed.
Yeah, we could take them.
That's not the issue.
And he points to the outside and says, Hasta gringo. Tienes pozo. Well, in that direction, and eel in that direction. If you want sleep, there is place in back.
All right. Actually, out of character, were we going to sleep in Swamp Town? I don't.
I mean, you
think
could.
so.
We've got a fair share of fatigue conditions, and
Oh yeah,
there's not
that's
that.
true.
There's not very many settlements on this trip.
That's fair. We may as well.
That being said,
Get
I don't know. You might
sleeping.
get stabbed in your sleep here, so that is worth considering.
For this
Well-
for this specific expedition, there is a settlement at the end of every stage. But you know, it's still not every single one is safe. So I'll leave it up to you.
All right. In that case, all right then. How much for the common room?
Una plata. And he rolls his eyes and shows one of the silver coins you gave him.
All right, Egon. Egon says, hold on. He says, 10 pence each. He is attempting to haggle him down.
Okay. Yeah, give me a haggle roll.
All right, and
I don't remember haggling.
I think this might be my best skill.
Finally, there's a
Well,
game
no.
with
Bro,
someone.
this program
Never
has
mind.
such a tease for throwing, and it almost lands on the 30 and then goes to the 70. It does that
Yeah,
all the time.
we've rolled a lot of 79s, but then again, he might roll worse, so we'll see.
He rolls against a. He is going to roll against a 35. I don't have a sheet for him, so
That's fine.
that's also -2. But you have a higher haggling, so
Aha! Take
that does
that.
count as a success. He looks up, and then he looks down, and then he looks up, and kind of like makes a little bit of a kind of like shrugs his shoulders, and says, "Muy bien." And you make the exchange. So it's gonna be you. What was the price you proposed?
So instead of a shilling each, he proposed 10 pence, 10 pennies each, 10 brass pennies each, and
Cool.
he's just going to pay that.
Yeah.
All right.
He accepts the price and he gives you back some of the pennies for the kind of like makes the exchange for you
Yeah.
because it is going to be like 1 penny and a half, 1 shilling and a half.
Yeah. So, yeah. In that case,
Oh, sorry, I rolled as a secret. It wasn't supposed to be a secret.
oh, fair. But yeah, I hand him 3 shillings, and he gives me 6 pennies back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hey, penny saved, penny earned, right? All right. So, does he point which way the common room is?
He gives you a he kind of looks back and he says, "Tienes una faca. Do you have a knife?"
Pulls out his dagger.
Just slide it across and it should open.
Egon is a mess of has a look of confusion on his face. He's not quite
Or
sure
yes.
what he's talking about.
Or you're saying you can open the door with a dagger?
I'm not sure
Eh.
which door he's talking about.
No tenemos muchos chaveros por aquí. Not a lot of keysmiths in Swamp Town.
Well, he said it was in the back. And Berard will gesture towards the back,
Yeah.
looking for a door.
He points back, and there is a little building. There's a little like, it's almost as if this was the original building, and then it grew outwards. There's a little like stone building that is supplanted with mud. Like some of the stones fell, and then mud was put in place. And there's a large wooden door on it. And he rolls his eyes. He grabs a knife, almost like a kitchen knife, from behind the door, and he goes towards it. And he puts it between the door and the wall. He like inserts the knife and pushes it upward, and there's a little click on the other side. And you see, it's kind of like, you know, when some doors have, like, especially like bathroom doors, have just a little slider.
Oh yeah.
It's that is the locking mechanism. It's just a piece of metal that's like does a half circle and locks on the side of the wall.
Right.
So opening is just a matter of like putting the knife and pushing it upwards, because then it goes back into position.
Right. So we know anyone coming in there has a knife in their hands. Got it. All right. In that case, with our accommodations secured, we can head out and talk to that apothecary-looking fellow.
Herbman.
Man.
You leave the establishment, and you do see on the outside, as you get close to to this place, there's a bunch of people here, like both sick and healthy, that are almost like using this place as a little bit of a gathering hub. And you see the guy on the behind the counter. He has a bunch of little bottles. A lot of them have different shapes and sizes, but all of them have this small amount of this whitish, not like a liquid, more of like a whitish sludge.
Ugh.
That he is selling to people. You see, he grabs behind him. He grabs like casks of this, he grabs like boxes of this stuff, and he starts distributing to people. And you see, it's not as much as like people are buying. It's almost like you know, when people are waiting on like fish, like soup lines. When people are like, especially people that are homeless, that are like
soup kitchens.
Yeah, soup kitchens. It's almost like that. Like people are going. It's not organized, so it's not a line, but people are going there to get their fill of whatever this is.
Hey Ashley, do you know what he's scooping out? You've worked with vagrants, right?
Can I roll what would I roll for that to try to figure it out?
I don't know.
Usually, it would be something like
a field test.
It would usually be trade apothecary for this, or trade herbology, or something like that. You can roll heal if you want to, but it is going to be a challenging roll instead of average, just because you don't have the specific skill.
Alright.
No idea.
God, I love rolling 70s. That's amazing.
Oh wow, you can actually wait. You can. Oh, you can pick up the dice. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. You see, it is. What you can truly identify is that it seems to be a lotion, because you see some of the people that are leaving. Some of them like open up this little vial, put their finger inside, and then start scrubbing on their arms and like neck and shoulders. Some of them like put up the. It's kind of like a bug cream, yeah.
Oh, does Looking
But
at
what-
the people who smear this stuff on themselves, are there noticeably less mosquitoes around them?
The mosquitoes are there, but they seem to not be landing. They are just like around.
We need to talk to this guy immediately.
But some of the mosquitoes are like it seems to be like one of those like it helps, but it doesn't solve the problem.
Berard nods as he furiously scratches his itching skin.
Alright, Berard, do you wanna take point on this one? I'll back you up.
Alright. He says he looks terrible. And he will join his brethren in despair in trying to get some of this miracle liquid.
Truly, this man is a godly man for helping the commoners.
So Berard is going to approach.
Yes.
Egon following very closely behind.
You kind of get in line. It's very confusing, and there's not like a line. There's just a bunch of people. But after a while, you get close, and you see he raises his head. You can see he has like a heavy cloak above his head, and a very tightly put bandana over his mouth and nose. And what you can see is basically two kind of like light blue eyes coming from underneath. Underneath there's also like a bit of a darker skin, but like aside from the eyes and the skin around them, you can see very little. He has like a very large tunic over his arms, and he wears like leather gloves. And as he looks upwards to you, he stops, and he keeps giving the lotion to other people behind you, almost like automatically, but he's looking up to you. Says, "Welcome, stranger."
Does that help with the bogs? He says, scratching furiously.
Is this
It
the
does.
vendor from Resident Evil?
It is. Thank you. Well, it does help with most of them. Do you want some?
I would very much like some. As you can see, I have spent some time learning that I don't like all the insects.
Well, that is very understandable, stranger. The insects seem to also hate your guts as well. And he grabs some vials, and he looks back to Egon and Ashling and says, "You are not alone, stranger. Do they need it too?"
Do strangers show up alone here?
Sometimes. Sometimes they flee from whatever slavery they were from. Sometimes they get mad and run into the jungle and then come here. Sometimes they survive shipwrecks. They have a lot of strangers coming around, as well as strange people. I would just put you as strangers, though. You are as common as they go.
I was expecting there to be lots of strangers all the way out here. Oh, but
Well,
I would very much like some of that if... And he pauses and considers, they could probably use some too, if you have that to spare. You do have a lot, but I don't know what it is you're actually given out.
he gives you he kind of like, you can see he smiles because like the bandana curves a little because it's very tight on his mouth, and he says, "Well, I wouldn't be much of a trader if I just gave out my recipes to everyone. Suffice to say, it is a lotion that really helps. And I can give it to you and your fellows, of course. There's no problem with that. However, people that live here usually give me some of their trade. As you're not from here, you don't really have a trade to give me, stranger. So, what else do you have?
I've got, what was it? They called them nickels? He looks to Egon.
He shakes his head and says, coins are a gambler's nightmare, and this is as close as a gambler's nightmare as you can have. No, I don't trade in coin if I can avoid it.
Gerard will take out the 2 strange mushrooms that are poisonous or inedible that he has left over from hunting boars. What about these?
Oh. He asks for permission to grab one of them.
Sure.
He grabs it. Ah. Nice treasure indeed. Stranger, that will do for you. I cannot say this will really help your friends, though. And he grabs the 2 mushrooms and he gives you the little bottle of lotion.
Egon steps forward. Did we overheard that conversation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Alright.
It was loud, everyone heard it.
Alright. Not into coin. Alright, I've got other things. He goes into his pouch and he pulls out that pearl that he got from the oyster back on the beach. And he says, what about this?
Can I? And he extends his hand.
Very carefully.
I'm always careful, stranger. And he grabs it. And
With some hesitation, Egon lets it go.
he looks towards you and says, this is very good, stranger. I can give you lotion to you and the other one on the back.
Good.
I can also give you a very precious thing for this. In addition to the lotions, of course. I am a fair man.
Kindred soul here in this miserable place. Never thought I'd see it.
Not at all, stranger. I'm as a mercenary as they come. But this, I do respect gifts such as this one. These are large and very hard to find. And they come in regions that usually kill a grown man. And as you can see, I have a lot of work here. Can't really leave willy-nilly.
Egon leans over towards Asling and says, thanks for the crowbar.
Yeah, no problem.
He gives out lotion for the both of you. So he gives you 2 bottles of lotion.
Alright.
He actually gives 4 because I forgot to mention that Ingvar and Egolf are with you.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Okay.
They are with you. They're following you.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty good.
You can presume they pay for their own stuff, but like, he also gets the thing. He also he looks towards you and says, "Well, do you have anything else you would want, stranger? I feel like this is a little bit one-sided with me on the gaining side. Have anything else that perches your mind?"
Egon looks on over to Ashling and says, Priestess, you're the expert here.
I'd have to think.
Ah, a member of the clergy here. Welcome to the new world, stranger. What
Yes.
gods do you serve?
I intend to bring the teachings of Shalia here.
Ah, a noble soul. Now, as they go, of course.
She will smile and nod.
You will probably die in 2 weeks. But it will be a noble death.
Nonsense. Shalia protects me.
It has protected many, but this is not the land of Shalia.
Not yet.
I
Or
like
just-
you, stranger.
Or just nodding in the background. He has seen this blessed woman walk through danger unscathed.
Very well done, miracle woman. What do you wish?
Hmm.
That I can give you, of course.
Um. Hmm. I would have to think about this. What are your offers?
He looks to the back and he starts kind of like shuffling the stuff
What are
he
you buying?
has.
What are you selling?
Exactly. I'm trying not to say the exact lines, but it is very
It's
hard.
fine.
I'm
It's
playing through
fine.
Resident Evil 4. I love that game.
So good.
It's such a good game. He is kind of looking back, and he starts grabbing a couple of vials and putting on the top of the counter.
What
And
we really need is healing poultices and some drafts, as well as, mostly just trying to keep these guys bandaged up. They're a little reckless.
well, they are here. None but the gamblers and the stupid end up in Swamp Town. No offense, of
Ah.
course.
Then we'll fit right in.
I knew I liked you, stranger. Well, I have some healing here. Not really my specialty, but I do have it. And he grabs some bottles. And he grabs a little, like, cylindrical bottle that has a giant cork on top of it. That has a little bit of a greenish, like a white greenish paste on it. And he puts it on the counter. And he also grabs a little flask that has a bunch of like herbs, like seem to be like dried herbs that were infused in water, almost like a cold tea. And he puts both of them on the counter. And it is a healing draught and a healing poultice.
I shall take both of these. It's a donation to the church.
He gives you a smile and says, "Stranger, a minute." And he finishes giving the lotions to the locals. And as they disperse, he says, "What ship did you come in, stranger?"
I'm not sure the name of it, to be honest.
Silverfell.
You were the kidnapped or drunk. Didn't know that Shalia priestesses drunk as much.
Oh no, I just forgot the name of it.
And my
How you get
apologies.
here is not important. It's that we're here now.
Oh, the South Star.
Wait,
Never heard of it. Very well. And he looks towards the thing and he says, "Are you planning on staying here?"
only one night. Speaking of which, there is actually something, if you can offer it, of course. Is there any pitfalls or, well, hard lessons that you've had to learn while traveling this rather miserable place?
He kind of like scrounches his face and frowns a little. And as he looks forward, he says, "If you can avoid, don't gamble here.
Can't
This
say I was.
city is not built by those who won gambling. It is built by sore losers."
Thanks for the advice, then.
Anytime.
Well, unless you have any last minute counter offers that you can think of, I think we're gonna call it.
Oh, do you have an apprentice or someone who helps you out?
Not really.
Oh, I'm surprised no one's offered to learn from you to help you with all the effort you're going through.
Many have offered, but none that have a real talent. It takes a knack for the thing. Usually they only want the recipe for the bug lotion, and then they're gone.
Oh, right shame that.
As I said, this is not a town of winners. This is a town of losers and those who take advantage or pity on those losers.
I won't ask which one you are, then.
Smart decision, stranger. Have a pleasant trip. And he starts kind of like closing the establishment.
Packing up.
Yeah, he starts like packing up because this is like the front. You can see on the back there's a curtain, and then behind it there must be like some living place that he inhabits. This is just the front of the shop.
Well, in that case, let us retire to our luxurious accommodations.
I'll go have a brief breath of fresh air, and I will nod towards the walkway back to where Tahitakai is.
Right.
For joining with ya.
See you then.
All right, I think we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. It's about that time. All right, we're ready to... Ben, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, we can
All
resume.
right, sweet.
All right.
Razoom.
You Tahitakai, you do watch as you're on the outside of on the outskirts of the city. You do see Berard coming out of the mist. And you can show up if you want.
Yeah, Tahitakai will drop down from the large tree branch he was resting on a little ways ahead of Berard. Where are the others?
We got a shelter to get a good night's rest. I don't know if you're, up to actually getting in it.
Shotlax, not safe.
Of course it's
Tahitakai,
not safe.
Tahitakai, hide here.
Question. Did the swamp town, plank, does that span the swamp so you use, it to cross? Or is it just a thing out to the town in the middle of the swamp?
No, there's a ton of them. There's 12 to 15 of them that go for different sections. And Swamptown is not unified. It's not just one platform. It's a bunch of different platforms above the swamp.
Okay. So it's not something we could use to cross the swamp.
Yeah. It is something you could use to cross the swamp. It just it is not a straight line. It just takes some detours.
If
you
need help,
want to
call for me.
How do we do that? Just yell Tahitakai real loud.
That will suffice. Or set
Alright.
fire.
That may take more time than shouting. Everything is very damp in that town.
Tahitakai, listen for name. Watch for chimney.
Oh, other question before I go. He's gonna take out that bottle, pop it open. Does this smell like something that's really bad to, be near you?
Tahitakai will take a cautious whiff.
It's supposed to keep insects away.
It smells very acidic.
Tahitakai will kind of like his nose will sort of like wrinkle a little bit, and he'll pull away just a smidge and say, "Not dangerous."
Oh, good. I was really hoping not to be eaten by bugs all the way. Oh, you stay warm? As he looks at the forest. Oh, we'll let the others know to shout if we need ya.
Tahitakai will bobble his head up and down a bit, and then he will return to the undergrowth of the jungle.
Gerard will head back.
Tahitakai is gonna find a little hollow or place to rest for the evening, but he wants to keep Swamp Town in sight.
Mm-hmm. That is not difficult at all. If you wouldn't mind, you could make me I'm gonna say an average outdoor survival test, just to find like a little safe place for you to stay in.
Also, this is completely irrelevant to what's going on, but is there supposed to be a Swamp Town icon anywhere?
I got a +3.
Cool. Yeah, you actually find a little branch that you can stay on. That is a little bit above the ground. It is just enough for you to kind of like twist your tail on the branch and stay in place during the night.
Delightful.
Cool. As for the rest of you, do you have any preparations before you go to sleep?
I trap the door.
I put
Make
my
a-
machete. Are there pillows to rest one's head on?
Sorry,
Or,
could you repeat that?
Is there? Well, when I say are there pillows, I do mean is there a bag filled with hay to rest one's head on?
No, there are a bunch of pieces of like wool and linen and like rests of like potato sacks on the ground that make for a little, almost like a nest that you could rest on. It's not really
You know what?
a bed.
Egon puts his machete within grabbing distance, hidden under one of the many sack or linen.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Rolls
Cool.
out bedroll.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have that.
Rolls it
I
out.
mean, I did
Looks
find
at
it
the
very
party.
funny.
Opens it up. Invites the party to snuggle, to stay warm, if needed throughout the night.
Scandalous.
Isn't it
Hey,
really hot?
Jungles can dip and be really cold at night, depending.
Yeah, jungles. This here in the coast, the temperature here looks like it resembles like a desert, where it's like very hot very early, and then as it gets to the night, it gets cold really fast because there's a lot of wind. The swamp is a little hotter because not a lot of air is circulating here, but it is still a little bit chilly. All right.
Besides, she's not a Ryan priest, so you don't need to worry.
That's very specific. Berard, make a set trap check for me.
Alright, what difficulty do you want?
I'm gonna say average. You have time. Cool.
I am re-rolling that.
that is very understanding.
I have an oops.
You
Oh, a crit failure.
Oh, jeez.
you have a very, very, very hard time figuring out how you would trap this because, like, you are very accustomed to trapping things in the wild, like using the environment and things like that. You are trying to trap a closed door. Weirdly enough, trying to do that with very few materials is very hard. You don't have something like a bear trap, and even if you had, it takes one person going out to pee during the night that probably gonna lose their feet. So it is one of those things that, like, you can try to do a trap, but it is going to be as dangerous to you guys as it is going to be to anyone that enters. So I'll leave it up to you. Do you wish for a trap to be set, or do you give up after a while?
If I can't figure out how to make a trap so that when the latch gets opened, something jams into the door jamb, then I will give up. But I presume I hurt myself attempting to do so on the old wood and stone.
I'm gonna
that is
say a
around
wound,
the door.
a single wound, because it is a critical failure. Why not? I'll give you a wound as a treat.
Or I... Ow! Blasted
Ingvar,
splinters. Who cuts
Ingvar
swords?
and Egolf are also helping. They're kind of like just nesting in place. They also try helping with the setting traps, but they are clueless as how they would do that, so they give up after a while as well.
Well, sleep
Oh.
it is. Am I actually missing any rooms? I'm curious. I am not. Well, no endurance test for me.
I'm pretty sure it's just Berard who's injured.
Oh, can Ashling? Does Ashling have a heal in her for him? As in, like, has he been healed since an encounter?
Nobody has been healed up until now.
All right, check it. I got you. Is this average because I have time?
Yeah,
Don't crit,
of
fail,
course.
don't crit, fail, don't crit.
I'm gonna
fail.
roll a 70.
Not a 70.
I will say that
70.
is 9 off from what I thought it would be.
At least if you had rolled a 70, it would have passed. Oh, there you
Yeah, I
go.
was gonna say that. There we go.
Hey,
Yeah, I think that's gonna be all of your wounds.
Yes.
Oaktown has eaten all of your fortune. I am very pleased of how funny that is.
Oh, thank you so much, Ashling.
No problem. Just don't move as much.
Aren't we traveling? That sounds like it'll be difficult.
No, tonight. Let the bandages set.
Oh. Oh, sleep at Islam.
Sounds like a plan.
Well, as you guys are going to sleep, I am going to ask you: are you using the your bug lotions?
yes, definitely.
Is it only
Ashley?
enough for a single use?
It is enough for a single use.
Wow, that is. Are there mosquitoes in here at night? Well,
Berard
we
looks
don't
at all
know.
the piled hay and uses his lotion.
Yeah.
Look, you said it, so I'm just gonna give you the information. Mosquitoes are the least of your problems.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. In that case, yeah, bug lotion, definitely.
Cool. Ashley?
Yep.
Okay. So everyone uses their lotion, so do remove them from your inventory. And we can none of you have to do any tests as the night passes.
Sweet.
You wake up the next day. Nothing happens during the night. It is not a calm night. You do hear a lot of screaming and shouting and crying on the outside, but nobody really messes with any of you as you are inside. And the morning comes, and you really don't notice you don't really notice it because of the luminosity, the brightness. You notice it because of how hot it gets. Because in here it gets warm. So you are sent. The innkeeper doesn't offer you breakfast or anything. He just repeats the same instructions as he points to the apothecary and to the eel fisherman. And yep, that's it. What do you want to do?
Honestly, let's see if that pearl of mine actually has some more has any juice left in it, quote unquote. So, is he handing out the bug lotion again?
Yeah, he is.
All right, we join the rest of the poor folk of Swamp Town, and in order to see if he has any more for us.
Again, as he's passing through, he does arrive to you, and he like stops you and then goes behind you and starts giving lotion to the people behind you. And says, "Good morning, stranger.
Morning.
Did you all sleep well?"
Yeah, thanks to I hold up my empty vial and say, thanks to this, and I hand him this vial back.
He appreciates. He gives you a nod. Takes the vials back.
You wouldn't have any leftovers now. Has everyone else gotten theirs and gone?
He does, like, he ends the giving out them out to the population, and turns to you and says, "I do have some if you're interested. It is going to be the same deal as yesterday, though."
Well, I'm afraid I don't have any more of those. He's actually gonna look through his stuff, see if he has anything.
Don't have to be as precious, but I'll take small trinkets and little things.
Ooh, I have the perfect thing. My pipe and tobacco that I bought in order to barter with later. Egon holds up a small thing, a small, tiny little bag of tobacco, and the pipe. How's this for a trade?
Oh, that looks very good, stranger. I would take that from you.
Well, if you're willing to bargain for myself and my companions.
He narrows his eyes. Wanna do a haggle test?
Sure, let's haggle. Haggle. And boop. And let's see. Haggle. Oh wait, no, crap. That was wrong. That was only supposed to be +3 on that. I gave it a +20 when I shouldn't have.
Okay. So that is a +4 then. Oh, it should be a +0, right?
No. It should be. So my target would have been 51. That means I would have gotten +2 and then +1 from Dealmaker.
Gotcha.
So 3 all in all. Yeah, there you go.
Cool. I am going to use Ingvar's sheet just because it's easier. So
Sure.
you're not rolling against your friend. I'm just rolling for the
My body.
He ponders for a while, and he points to the tobacco and says, "Where's that from, stranger?"
From the Empire all the way across the ocean. I'm not quite sure of its origins, but I believe it may be from the Mootland.
His eyes widen as he opens his hand, stretched to grab. And he picks up the pouch with the tobacco and gives it a smell. Moot stuff, stranger. Very valuable in the right hands. And he picks up the pipe and the tobacco, puts it to the side, and grabs 4 bottles as he gives it to you. And he says, "One for each and one for the hospitality, stranger."
Oh, how generous of you. All right. Egon takes them, distributes them out to everyone, so everyone has one thing of bug lotion, and he keeps 2 to. Actually, no, he hands 2 to Ashling, and everybody else gets 1 because Ashling is she is the more generous soul out of everyone here.
Yep.
All right.
Do you have anything else you would like to do in Swimtongue, or are you leaving to the next leg of your journey?
I think it's time to pick up Twintail and get going.
Yeah.
I'll stop some random person near us. What do the eel people take for eels?
He looks, you see one guy just grabs like a little drunk. It's like 10 a.m., but he's already like piss drunk.
He gets the full visage of the 5-foot-tall, polka dotted hunter asking him about eels.
And he looks kind of like confused, but he's like, they take all sorts of stuff. I think they take money. They also take like things that are not eels. They just don't accept eels for eels.
Gerard will nod and let him be on his way. Shall we get some food? Though I hesitate to call eels food. Last time we looked for things, all I found was poisonous.
I could come assist you if you need.
Oh, well, he points at Menfried as the designated person who can handle selling things.
Sure. He comes with.
Gerard just goes up and tries to get some food for our journey.
You find some of the people that are selling the eels. It's not like a one guy that sells all the eels. It's a bunch of little commerces that are built in the boats themselves. They have little shallow boats that they use to almost like a stand board, because they don't sit on the boat, they just use it standing. That they use for hunting eels here in the swamp. Nasty looking things. They have like this horrible mouth that almost looks like one of those deep water fishes. Have like gigantic teeth all throughout the face of it. These like bulgy eyes that are milky white, but have this almost like a malice in them. They're horrible creatures, and they're very, very long. Like each of them is 3 meters long at least. For those of you who are from the United States, Google it, but it is 3 meters. And you see that they're kind of traveling. They're kind of like talking about it, and a lot of them know very broken Reichspiel. I'm not gonna roleplay that because again, it's just a bunch of fishermen. But the price that they give you is basically for the amount of food that you're gonna need for like a stage of the journey. That is going to be 4 shillings. You can try haggling it down to 2, but they are very adamant about it.
Humphrey, do you think I can get them to offer it lower? That's kind of just out of my price range.
They also do offer, if you want to, you can exchange products for it. So you can swap the equivalent of those 4 shillings for on like trappings or things like that.
Yeah, no, Berard
Yeah.
likes having his things.
Yeah, just giving the option.
Does what's it called? Does Berard have anything in haggle? I'm just curious if you can assist me or not.
I do not believe so.
Uh,
No, I have nothing in haggle.
forest people, completely uncivilized.
I mean, I could roll for my... Do I still have fatigue?
No, you everyone loses the fatigue as you rest.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I could roll by 7 to
That's-
see if I succeed.
Nah, no need. But yeah,
good night's sleep is
in that case, Egon says, "Look," says to the eel fisher, the eelermen, eel fishers. I don't know what to call them, but
Mhm.
eel haulers. That's actually a good one. Damn, nailed it. And he says, "Look, it's either you sell him nothing, or you're just gonna have to take a slightly lower cut on it." And he attempts to convince them such. Yeesh, only a -1, but hey, all they have to do is roll a -1 too.
Yeah, again, I'm gonna roll using.
I shit you not, an eel. You know what an eel fisher is called in English? They're called a sniggler.
Jesus Christ!
Nope.
I think mine is better.
Yeah, good luck.
Mm.
Don't stumble on that one.
Ooh, that is a landmine right waiting to happen.
I am calling them anything else. This is fine.
I think an eel hauler sounds appropriate.
Yeah,
Yes.
eel hauler.
Whew, that is a dangerous word.
That is a dangerous word. That is a success also in your test because they roll a -4.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Just gotta keep rolling slightly better than everybody else.
They accept the price, so 2 shillings.
Alright, Berard throws at them his 24 brass pennies.
Thank you. They very quickly pick them up from on the air, like almost like with a unnatural precision.
How did
and
you do
agility.
that?
So, you can do a roll 1d coin, and it will do a coin flip. And because the Dice So Nice has a Wolfrup theme, if you set it to that, the coins become Warhammer coins.
Hilarious.
Incredible.
It also happens if you use the pay and credit commands to like give and have people pay money. They'll toss out coins on their screen.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
So it's gonna be 2 silver shillings for each for the next stage.
Alright, paid.
Paid for yours. And next is gonna be Egan and then Ashley.
How much am I
And
paying?
also 2 silver shillings.
Sure.
Which is gonna be fair
Oops.
enough for the. It is important to remind you guys that counts for the 3 of you. It doesn't count for Tahitakai.
Makes sense.
I'm sorry, what doesn't count for me?
the supplies for the stage.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Okay,
you have
I'm out there eating bugs.
you have the enough supplies for 2 stages, except for Tahitakai. Tahitakai only has 1 stage worth of food because you bought 1 for each. So, just important to remind you if anyone wants to buy for Tahitakai. Or that does make it easier for the foraging, because then you're not going to have to do it for multiple people. Just going to be Tahitakai. You just need a simple success.
Should be able to handle myself out there.
Anyway. If that's all, we're going to continue our journey. Then we'll continue
Let's
our journey.
go.
Who's feeling
Hey.
lucky?
I am.
Roll a D100 for me, please.
Nope.
Damn, dude.
Look, I don't actually know if it's good or bad to roll high or low. I'm just assuming that it's bad.
Scale
I'm pretty
75 was thunderstorm.
I'm pretty sure that's the
Look.
weather roll, so I bet that's bad.
No, I rolled just to give a little sneak peek into my GMing. Usually I like rolling things before the session. These are the encounters. These are the jungle encounters.
Okay,
I have
it
mapped.
could be worse.
I have mapped all of the weather for the journey. You will feel that there is a theme. There's a theme. It is rain. There's a lot of rain.
But not a downpour.
Now 98. Ooh, 98. Okay. All right. As you start getting out of the settlement, and as you start making your way to you encounter with Tahitakai, of course, and as you encounter Port Reaver, as you start heading northward, on the 2nd day of journey, it starts to rain again. It is a torrential downpour. So anyone that is making rolls is going to have a -10 penalty for any physical tests. So most of the endeavors are physical tests. So that is going to be a -10 penalty on top of the difficult, unless someone can make a find shelter roll. That's going to be ignored. So, endeavors, people. Who's doing what?
Can I assist someone else with an endeavor to give them a better chance?
Honestly, sure.
Because if I can do that, then I would like to help probably Manfred find shelter.
That's the thing. I'm not very good at it.
I have a 42.
Never mind. I will help Aisling find shelter.
Awesome.
Alright.
For outdoor survival?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm going to
My
help her.
character is very smart.
My friendship with Manfred is over. Aisling is my new friend.
No.
Heads.
All the head
Then-
pats.
Indeed.
All right, so
Hey.
Woo!
that is a success. As you are going through the track, you are able to find some places that you can hide from the rain. Like every day, you are able to find like the best path that you are able to avoid a lot of the downpour. It is very hard, but you are able to do it, and not everything you have is soaked as you are advancing to the jungle. So we
Sweet.
have Berard and Egon for endeavors.
Honestly, I'm not very good at much of anything. So I'm probably just gonna sit this one out.
You could do,
Well,
I think a good default one, because I don't think it would necessarily result in a fatigue. If you fail, is the practice a skill option.
According to the
does
rules,
the-
it still does give fatigue.
Never mind then. Everything's dangerous.
Oh, yeah,
Everything's
everything's
dangerous.
dangerous. So
Because you're exerting
Yeah.
yourself on top of the track that is already like very dangerous.
true. In that case, I'm probably just gonna take it easy because I wanna keep my dang stats as high as I can. Because reasons.
All right, Ben.
I will try to get more food because we still don't have enough to get to Skaggy.
All right. Make a difficult outdoor survival. Just a -10 because the find shelter worked.
Hey, look at that!
Awesome.
Does he have Hunter's
oh.
Eye, perchance?
No, I have stuff for setting traps.
Ah, right. All right.
How many people is that feeding?
6, because when you're hunting, you get enough food for 2 people for every success, instead of 1 for
Gotcha.
foraging. So it's either 6 or 8.
So
I can't remember.
do we need to worry about our NPC buddies as well?
No, they're feeding for themselves.
Convenient. Awesome.
Just to not add, because I don't want to add like a lot of bookkeeping. So it is going to be they're keeping to themselves. They have enough food. They are able to gather whatever they need.
Yeah, so it feeds 2 people and 2 extra people per SL.
Awesome. Hell of a hunt.
That is
So
everyone.
8 people.
Awesome.
We feast tonight.
I am going to say, I think with that success, you can feed people for this stage and an additional one.
Holy crap!
So I'm gonna say all of you still have 2. Well, actually, there's gonna be 3. Then, because you already had 2, you feed for this one and then an additional one. So that's gonna be 3 stages of food currently.
Is that enough?
So
to
this
get us to
stage,
Skaggy?
the next stage, and the stage after.
Exactly.
Except for Tahitakai. Tahitakai is -1.
That guy is -1.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah, Berard, you actually find one of those wild boars you saw close to the colony site. You were able to hunt one of them, and they have a bit of a weird. It's a bit weird to like actually remove the meat from them. And you don't do a very good job, but it is a very large one, so you're able to get a lot of food and you smoke the rest. You are used to expeditions where you have to spend like months inside the forest, so a lot of these like hunting skills of like preserving as much food as you can as soon as you get it kind of kick in. And you are able to make like a lot of like basically like smoked meats to last for a couple of stages.
Alright. I collect the teeth from the eels and the tusks from the boar.
Mm-hmm. The tusks are a little broken, but they are solid. They're still like large tusks.
That's fine.
Right. As you're going through the jungle, you hit a wall.
Boom.
It's not a physical wall,
Ow.
but it is something that does give you pause. And you feel like this headache. I need a cool test, a challenging cool test for all of you. Tahitakai, you can make it average.
I got this.
I'm good.
I don't got this.
I don't got this either.
You hit the fog and you feel, you don't hear anything, but you feel this intense urge to run. There's this panic that waves through your body, like Berard and Tahitakai, you were able to kind of stop Ashley and Elon before they like run into the jungle in a panic. There's just this instinctual, horrible feeling that washes through your souls, and
Elon.
as you break the jungle and you see what's in front of you, there is a kilometers wide, just empty hole in front of you.
When you say hole, do you
rain-
mean like bottomless from our perspective hole?
It is not bottomless. The sun is shining, so you can see that there is like there is a bottom, but it is
Is
like
there a big snake down there?
a couple dozen meters down. It is a large fall from where you are. And it is one round crate.
Hmm.
What is this?
Bentail, what are we looking at?
I'm gonna throw a rock in it.
Wait, no! Throws rock.
The rock bounces and enters the thing. Like it bounces on the side and keeps going, rolling down the hill until it reaches the bottom.
I'm gonna need a bigger rock. Hang on. I'm gonna go and find a bigger rock, lift it up with
Tahitakai-
both hands, walk back,
Tahitakai-
and throw it into the hole.
What?
Okay. You throw the rock on the hole. It bounces on the rope and keeps going.
Oh, jeez. White
And
lid.
eventually it moves out of sight because the hole is so big that the sun doesn't shine everything. It just shines the part of it, and a lot of it is covered in shadow. Tahitakai, you can roll me secret signs if you want to.
I would love to. What's the modifier?
I'm gonna say challenging.
Oh, just barely passed.
Oh. That's what we needed.
Tahitakai, you know what this is. Or more specifically, you know what it was. Do you have any guesses to what this is?
I'm guessing this is what's left of El Cadavo.
This is the rest of Elkada.
Yeah.
It is just a massive pit of nothing. There are no bones, there are no structures, there's no stone or wood. It is just a hole that not even the jungle of Lustria has dared to occupy ever since it was destroyed. And
Tahitakai will look at Egon and say, the wrath of Ancient One, Great Master.
Wait, your boss did this?
He he struggled. Tahitakai not no boss, but revered one, Mazdamundi.
Oh, remind me not to get on his bad side.
Warmbloods angered him.
What, your boss is a witch?
No witch.
Well, that certainly makes me feel better.
Which are he pauses for a moment. Which chaos? Mazdamundi. Blessed. Sacred.
Long as he's not chaos. That would have been quite a surprise.
No. Hates chaos.
Oh, well, anything that hates chaos and does this, I'm kind of okay with that. Sorry, the cat is being dumb. He's being like, "Let me in." No, I don't want to come in. Let me in.
Uh,
All right.
I'm
so,
gonna need Ashling and Egon to roll me endurance tests.
Oh boy.
Good luck.
Check it.
Okay.
Oh jeez.
Oh, a crit.
Nope. Crit
Both
fail.
of you have a. So this is more of a role-playing thing. I'm not gonna tell how your character feels. I'm just gonna tell you that whenever you're role-playing, you should interpret these facts as this. This Lustria place has never seemed like a good idea. There is a moment that something clicks in your mind that you should leave. Whatever you can do to leave this place is a great idea. You feel lost here. So, whenever you're doing something, your character has a very little sense of orientation. So, they keep going to the wrong place, they keep pointing north where it isn't. And there's this overwhelming feeling, although I don't think your characters would express it, because it's a slight change in your brains as much as anything, that you should leave. However you roleplay that is your concern, but this is something that kind of like affects your character. If you want more details, you are affected by thought fog, which is the fog that affects warm-blooded people who visit Lustria. There is an ongoing spell in Kadavo that affects you the same as you enter, as not only a physical warning, because again, Kadavo was destroyed a bunch of times, but as a mental change, as a mental spell that makes you want to leave, and that disorientates you as a product of that. So, for Egon and Ashling, whenever you're roleplaying your character, kind of keep that in mind. It doesn't have to change all your character's like trajectory and thing. And every
I will
week
proceed to forget immediately.
And every week that passes, so every stage, you're gonna be able to re-roll the fog to see if it goes away and if you're able to kind of like get used to Lustria itself. So Tahitakai never has to roll for it because he is cold-blooded, and at this moment, whatever effect this is, Berard resisted the initial effect, and therefore he also resisted the later one. So just to kind of keep in mind, this is an effect that is ongoing, and it is not a critical fear effect or like a terror. It is a subtle thing more than anything. Cool?
Alright.
So just keep it in mind for your roleplay in the future.
Do they have to deal with the disorientation symptom?
They are not in any. From what it is said on the book, it is not a drastic thing. It disorientates you, but like if your group is going one way, you're not suddenly gonna jump into the other direction, as you are the one kind of leading the charge, the expedition northward. So as long as Egon and Ashling don't have to lead you anywhere, then that's not a problem.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, it does. It's very much a minor thing. It's not even a full minus on like everything. So yeah.
It doesn't have any like physical. It doesn't have any specific penalties or anything like that. It's just more of a role playing thing of Lustria getting into your brain. This old spell getting into your brain and convincing you to make a mistake and go away from here. So that's just something that as I said, like this should color your role playing more than anything.
All right. Tahitakai will kind of look at the the ominous pit and say, "We should carry on. Not good place for warm bloods."
Twintail, do you mind if we take a large circle around this place?
Would be best.
It feels
Not sure
good.
if bad effect cutting through. Mazda Mundi no like chol.
You keep saying that word, chol. What's that mean?
I think he means us.
Warm blood. Human. Outsiders.
That's a lot for one little word.
He will simply bob his head. Well, actually,
I've
he'll
heard
say,
an elf swear word.
your tongue, too many word.
Yep.
Egon starts thinking back. There was this time I heard an elf use a very long and elaborate word. Apparently it wasn't very nice. But other than that, Egon feels himself struck by an astute bout of homesickness all of a sudden. But he doesn't want to admit it to anyone. But
Follow around. I'm gonna take them. Yeah, I'm gonna take them like kind of a little deeper into the jungle so we can go around the crater of El Cadavo.
Mhm.
Jeez.
Awesome.
All I keep thinking is the Dalaran hole. After you could go check that place out in World of Warcraft. Other than that, we move on.
Yeah, this fog has a lot of like Pandaria vibes, but it is considerably older than that. But all right.
We move.
After 2 more days of traveling after the ruins of El Cadavo, you arrive in another city. This one way more respectable. As you break from the jungle, because as I said, like you can see very far inside the jungle, you can see very very little, but sometimes the jungle breaks and you see these like large clearings, and you see this kind of small but little industrious town. There's a bunch of people walking around. There are a couple of ships on the docks, and it seems to be very, like, especially after leaving Swamp Town, this is a proper town. It doesn't look like as good as some of the old cities of the Empire, but it does look better as you're peering into it from a distance. It seems to have been stretched, like there's a little bit of a sea wall that makes a narrow entrance from the sea, and there's a large Karak. There's a large like ship that is very similar to the ones you guys came in, which is the Silverfell, very close to the Silverfell. And there's a bunch of smaller little ships that are on the way. And you see a lot of like pillars of smoke coming from the different buildings. This one, thank God, has an image. Because Total War made an image for Port Reaver, it didn't do one for Swamptown.
Oh, I love this image. Oh,
It
the
looks
Wolfheart campaign is so good.
amazing. So yeah, you see, as it is in the image, you see these like different, like tall buildings with the chimneys and this like light gray and green roof. It also has a little keep on the side that has a giant banner that is this blue and white and red with a symbol in gold in the center. And it has on the wall, on the sea gates, on the sea walls, there's also these large watchtowers. And also something that I think I don't know, Tahitakai, you're probably gonna have to give me a little bit of a description. You see the devastation around it. The forest is decimated. There are these large fields of extracting forests that are burned to a crisp. Large sites with some farms, but a lot of it is just like a harvesting and burning operation to keep the jungle far away. And it is a scar that extends from the sea inwards, as if something cut with a burning knife on the flank of Lustria.
For Tahitakai, it's unsettling, but he's still possessed of an absolute faith in that, especially as close as we are now to Hexwaddle, that Lord Mazdamundi and the other Slon Lords surely must be... He knows they're aware of Port Reaver. They've had incidents with Port Reaver, and yet they allow it to continue. So this must be part of the plan. It's ugly and unpleasant to look at, but it is, as of yet, allowed. Though he does, of course, have the kind of that lingering thought of that could change at any moment if these, especially the men of Port Reaver, continue delving too deep into the jungle. It could cause potential issues, and he would not be sad to see it go.
Oh, praise Sigmar, we have found something civilized. And lacking in mosquitoes from the looks of it.
Tahitakai will...
He says completely oblivious.
Tahitakai will look at the humans and say, "Not stay long. Must continue. One night."
Alright. Fine. You sure you'll be okay, Twintail?
I wait north of settlement. Follow coast, you find. Not safe here.
Egon nods. Alright, folks. Let's get ready to enjoy some old world hospitality, shall we?
Tahitakai is going to head deeper, like notably deeper into the jungle, and carve a wide path around Port Reaver. It's got pretty famous incidents with the lizardmen.
Or going to get knifed in an alley.
Hey, you say that as though we don't have knives ourselves.
You get closer to Port Reaver, and Port Reaver is a true and tested settlement. It has the buildings are solid. Most of them are made of stone. They have this like rickety feeling that is very reminiscent of like imperial buildings. The architectural style is a little different, just enough that you notice. It's like going to another country and seeing a house, and it's like it's still a house, you recognize it, but something is different. Which is kind of hard to pinpoint what. And doesn't take long for you to really see a lot of people. There are a lot of traders, there are a lot of people running around, and visibly armed. Everyone here has a blade or a pistol or both on their bodies, going from one side to the other. People rarely run alone, although there's a bunch of children that are kind of like running around as messengers. A lot of the buildings here are for commerce purposes or for just some of them are for sleeping, for providing a place to sleep for those that are coming. It's very much a port town in the way of like it's very mercantile and trading is the primary factor here. Some people have made good business for staying, but a lot of people just use this as a stepping point, or just like for some money, and then they go back to wherever they came from. You do see that there is a beautiful tavern, like a tavern with an inn, has like 3 floors, built in the same style, this grayish green tiles with the stone building. And it doesn't have any markings, doesn't have any drawings, but it does have a plaque on top of the door that says Lusty Jim.
Berard, Ashling, I'm going to enjoy this.
Rod will look at the name. I don't think this is one of them good establishments.
Exactly. And he heads inside.
I didn't know Manfred could read.
All right. So both of you
He-
get into.
He does.
Oh yeah, you can't read. Yeah, that's right.
No, it's fine. He can't read, but he knows a place when he sees it. He has etiquette criminals.
True. You do see this place for what it truly is.
Oh yeah.
So Ashling and Berard, do you enter as well, or do you go do something else?
I think Alexis said BRB.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
Berard will
but anyway, Berard.
find some old men who seem like they are in need of chatting, and will sit and talk with them about their lives because they will expound upon it a great deal. And hopefully he learns something about Lustria.
Sure. You want to roll me a gossip check?
Did you hear the hunts marshal came tracking some big beastie he is?
I mean, I can make it. Do I still have terrible bug bites?
You do, but it is going to be an average roll. So.
Well, that isn't going to save me.
Well.
Almost.
Would-
Oh no,
wouldn't
that's a
it be?
critical fail. Oh jeez.
How many fortune points do I have? I'll reroll
mean-
not to have a critical fail.
We've been going for we've got like less than an hour left, so
Ooh, there
look
you
at
go.
that.
Awesome. I am going to start running. Meanwhile, actually, Tahitakai, are you, as you're taking the long way around, are you looking for something specific or doing something specific, or are you just avoiding people?
100% avoiding humans, but he is going to be also like kind of scavenging as well. And also 2 things: scavenging, so keeping an eye out for like small animals or insects that he can munch on as he goes, or shoot with his blowpipe, or sneak up on and bash with a dagger or his staff in order to acquire some more food. And he's also going to be keeping an eye out for any secret signs, especially this close to Port Reaver, because it's not unusual for there to be lizard scouts in this ballpark.
I'm gonna say, just to make it a little easier, you can make both rolls at challenging or one of them at easy.
Ooh. I would rather... I would rather make sure that I am good on food for the rest of the trip, so I guess I'll do an easy outdoor survival in that case.
Cool. Make the roll then.
2 success levels.
Yeah, you're easily able to find enough food for yourself. You forage a number of fruits that are difficult to see and difficult to find. It's one of those fruits that, like, you know that they're there because you are from Lustria, but the humans probably haven't figured that this is eatable, so they never try.
All right. And then other than that, we'll just be avoiding humans as much as possible.
Cool. Gotta say, because of Arboreal and things like that, no roll necessary. Just gonna be, you're gonna be avoiding people, so no problem.
Sounds good.
So as we have that, Ashling, as Berard, so Egon is going to enter the Lusty Gym, and Berard is talking to some old fishermen / sailors. What do you wish to do?
I shall go with Manfred.
Manfred? Okay, you enter Lusty Gym.
Yeah, that sounds like the perfect place for a priest.
I mean, no vows of celibacy here.
The Lusty Gym is truly a not respectable place in anywhere else. For Lustria, for a city in Lustria, it is very well kept. It has chairs and tables and glasses, and there's even music playing. You hear this guy playing the accordion, but it is not the most respectable place. You see a lot of how do I put this? You see a lot of men and women that are in very, very skimpy clothes. Probably because of the heat, we'll say.
You mean wenches?
Very tight shorts. Yeah, sex work. You see a bunch of them walking around. You see a lot of gambling. You see a couple of tables running cards, running dices, running different games of chance. You see some of them doing like the kind of like the knife with the fingers challenge. But there's a very drunken sailor with like a saber doing that, and there's a large pile of money, and there's a bookie that's kind of like keeping track of the bets. On the side, there's a little fighting ring, which is basically just 2 planks that separate the little space that has dust on the floor instead of wood. And you see a guy and this like very burly woman just punching the shit out of each other. With like a couple of people watching. There's a lot of ale, there's a lot of wine, there's a lot of just like overall drinks on the tables. The place smells of I'll say like it smells of this like very alcoholic, musty smell of like these people have been here for a while. A lot of them are dirty, and there's no real difference between where you have sex and where you drink. There are people openly having sex. They are in the corner. They're not like on top of the tables, but they are having sex. That is very clear.
I'm just gonna walk in and say, "Is this a temple of Raya?"
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure this establishment worships Ronald, if no one else.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of which, don't mind me, and he immediately heads towards the card tables.
I'll just walk up with you.
Very quickly as you enter, you are flanked by a group of beautiful and not so beautiful people. And you see these like kind of like muscular and fit men that have these like very tight sailor shorts, and these women with beautiful blouses and kind of like these mini skirts. And very quickly they flank all of you and sit around kind of looking, just waiting. None of them really harass you or say anything. They just kind of like stay around you as you enter.
It's like it's advertising.
Yeah, basically. Some of them are flexing, some of them are showing a little bit more. It's hard to show more flesh, but they are. They're trying. And you have all kinds here, honestly. You have older folk, younger folk, not too young, of course. But like you have a lot of ranges of sizes and ages here. And you do get that the lusty part of Lusty Jim is the main part. And you head to one of the card tables. There's a card game running.
Well, I in the ways in the ways of a seasoned gambler, Egon waits until the round finishes and sees if there's an available spot around the table.
You see that there's a guy, almost like a casino. There's a guy at the head of the table that is, as the game is ending, he's like picking up money, distributing money for people who won, and he's kind of doing a little bit of the keeping here. And he picks up some cards, starts distributing, and he looks to you and says, "Do you want in?"
What's the buy-in?
He looks to you and he kind of like, you see he peers outside of the table, and you see there's a guy behind you, one of the sex workers. He looks and says, "I think a silver shilling is a good in." And
Oh.
the guy on the table kind of like shakes his shoulders, says, "A shilling it is."
Well, in that case, he will take he'll take some cards, and he'll throw a shilling into the pot to be gambled upon.
There's a little
However-
glass.
Oh, go ahead.
You see that there's a little glass that is like seems to be like an upside down skull that is made of these like very jaded glass, and that is the pool of money.
Oh no. They found
and
the
you
crystal
see-
skull. The worst Indiana Jones movie.
And you see that a lot of people, some of the other sailors, which you're starting to notice are not sailors. They do come in and they start also putting money on it.
Ooh, nice.
And you see, this is not an unarmed place, by the way. Everyone here is armed to the teeth. Some of them have better weapons, some of them have worse weapons, but it is a very, very open thing.
Alrighty then.
And you see this woman, she has like a short hair, like almost like a pixie cut, and these like very large pauldrons of leather, and of kind of like a red corset. And she jumps on the side, kind of like on one of the benches to your side, and throws the silver shilling as in. And you see that like as you're beginning to play, she's kind of like looking at you. She's not trying to look at your hand, she's clearly looking at you as you're playing.
Alright. So Egon is going to with a very bold opening hand, he is going to bet all of his shillings on this one round. So yeah, he'll go quote unquote all in with 6 shillings to in order to see if there are any takers.
Roll me a d4, please.
D4. Boop. 2.
You're putting your 6 shillings on the table.
Yep.
2 of your fellow contestants, like some people drop. They still have the buy-in, so there's 3 people drop, but 2 people will stay on the card and they bet the same money, including the woman that is beside you. So there's currently, let me do the math here, 16 plus 3, so there's currently 21 silver shillings on the prize pool.
Oh boy, that's a lot.
It's a gold crown.
Yep, and I'm trying to get it.
Yeah.
All right, shall we?
Yeah. So as you're playing, you realize very quickly none of you are playing fair.
No.
This is very, very clearly one of those things of like, if everyone is cheating, no one is cheating.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
it's who we're not seeing who's the best gambler here. We're seeing who's the best cheat.
Exactly. By not getting caught, because the guy that is the dealer is giving a very, very mean look to everyone. So this is kind of the game. It is cheating without being noticed while cheating by the dealer. So as you're doing, a lot of it is like it's a mixture of like card counting and pulling cards from your wrist. It's not just one round; it's multiple. So basically, what I'm saying is you can use card sharp. Everyone else is also using card sharp.
Yeah, I figured.
So I am going to say this is going to be a contested roll.
Yeah.
I am going to make 2 rolls because of your 2 opponents, and
Mhm.
we're gonna see whatever happens because of.
Alrighty, here goes nothing. Boop. Oh jeez. Oh god.
Off to a great start.
You know what? Well, I mean, they could fail worse. We'll see.
So this is going to be. I'm gonna again use just Ingvar to make it easier.
Fair enough.
This is gonna be the first guy.
And he rolled a critical success.
And this is going
Rip.
to be the woman sitting beside you.
Alright. Could have been worse. But man, it would have been nice to have a fortune point for this, but
Dark deal.
alas.
Dark deal.
You can reroll.
I mean, the guy rolled a crit. Like a critical success. I would need to
Yeah.
crit and succeed.
I'm gonna say, because of the type of challenge that we're dealing with, because of card sharp and things like that, I am considering a crit if it's like a 1 to 5. Otherwise, contested rolls get really messy with a lot of crits.
Fair enough. Alright,
So
you know what?
it is a +2.
You know what? In that case, screw it. Let's throw a dark deal on it.
Okay.
Holy crap! You know what? Worth it.
There is a shift in the air around you.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
It gets a little colder around you. You get frustrated, and there's something that snaps inside you, something that hasn't snapped before. Fate is truly a bitch. But there are things higher than fate.
Yeah, luck.
And I think Egon has a little bit of a moment of, man, I would do anything to win.
Man, I'd sell my soul for some money.
And I think this is something just to keep in mind for Egon as corruption keeps going. Again, this is my interpretation of corruption. You're free to do as you wish with Egon. But I think something snaps a little bit on his head of, it's not only cheating, it's controlling what happens. It's not cheating to win. It's the power of changing fate. You're not at the point of like fully going Zinchen, but there is a little bit of a thing in the back of your mind that changes a little.
It's that little first step on the road to damnation, being like,
Yeah.
I mean, who cares if I slide another slide another card into my hand? Like, it's like it's harmless, right? Of course. I'm just winning some money. That's all. But
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
that's
there's that
that's the
first
first step.
step. There's that first
Yeah.
step of like starting to get to a point where you are very tempted with the power that exists in dice. Truly, the
Or,
hand that
or
throws the dice is way more important than
well,
any
and
other.
cards in this case. But yes, I get
Yeah,
point
cards.
taken.
The general point is there.
Oh yeah. Well, I thought you meant like the digital dice being like, wait, that's a little meta right there, but sure.
No, it's
Yeah.
more of a like the hand that deals the card is more important than the one who is dealt the card.
Yeah. There you go.
That is
Fair.
the true power. It is not like knowing where cards are being dealt. It's having the deck.
All right.
That
All
kind
right.
of stuff is
And
important.
with a very theatric gesture, Egon scoops all of the shillings to himself. How much was it again?
It is 21 shillings.
21 shillings. So
The guy,
seeing...
the other guy that is playing, this like older fellow around like 40 years old, he immediately jumps back. Oh, I cheated.
Who? Me?
Yeah, you. Coming out down from nowhere. Now you win? Just like that?
Beginner's luck, yeah.
Oh, I saw no cheating from him. And you know Shalian priests are not allowed to lie.
She says, lying.
And you see there's a pause, and he looks around the room, and you see that no one really took his side on this. And he waves and says, "Beginner's luck." And he spits on the ground and leaves.
Huh, sore loser that one, eh? Now,
Yes.
and with that he says, "How about a round for the table on me, as the lucky winner?"
You see the people around you, especially the sex workers, are like, "Great beer," and they go grab their beers.
How cheap is the alcohol here? Very cheap, right?
They serve only Bretonian wine.
What?
No, it's
You are-
elven wine.
Bull hockey.
I'm gonna say how much are you willing to spend on this?
I mean,
I'm gonna change it to you.
Is a silver shilling enough to buy a round for? Well, when I say round, I do mean for like the table, like the people who are actually gambling at the table, meaning like 5 people.
I think for the people that are on the table, 9 pennies would be enough, because that would be like
Okay.
3 pints. If you really
Alrighty.
want to grease up the public, you could buy a keg, which is 3 shillings.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I was kind of just hoping to like take the money and run. Because I just wanted I wanted a quick hand, get out while I'm on top, and leave a good impression while I'm at it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll only spend on the round, let people like refill everyone's drinks, and then I will graciously bow out before the next round starts up.
Mm-hmm.
Clinking my new silver shillings in my coin purse, I lean and whisper to Aisling, and that's how you do it.
That's quite impressive.
I know, it's great.
As you go to as you're going in the direction to exit, there is a large man that steps on the way with this large smile and says, "Welcome! It is good to see you. You are today's winner, eh?"
Indeed, winner, big.
Chicken dinner! Come on, let me grab you a pint. Let's talk about it, eh? I've never seen her around.
Oh, I've never seen you either. Ashling.
Oh, where are my manners? I am Lusty Jim himself. On the flesh. Lots of it anyway. And he kind of like taps on his tummy that keeps wobbling.
Oh, you're the owner of this place.
The owner of the very creatively called Lusty Jim, yes.
Well, Egon, Manfred Frank, pleasure to meet you.
Make a charm roll.
Oh boy, is it average or?
Let's say average.
All right.
You caught yourself.
Yeah. Let's see. Hi, Kobu. Nice to meet you. Hey, look at that. Nailed it.
I had a son called Manfred. He was eaten by a snake. Come on, let me grab you a drink. And your priestess friend as well.
Oh, wow.
I do not drink, but the sentiment is not lost upon me.
Awesome! I don't have to pay you a drink then. Table. And he he kind of like fully arms you into a round table at the corner.
All right. We take a seat.
Ow!
It bit me. Oh, shit.
So
This is you get for cheating.
You can smell the corruption. Ranald is not happy.
So what are you doing in this fine establishment? Did you decide to do your honeymoon in Lustria of all places?
No, absolutely not. Just profuse awkwardness and apologies, and just I'm so
No
sorry.
apologies necessary. You hate her guts. That's no problem at all. I had 5 wives before I realized I just didn't need any.
You don't hate me, do you?
No,
He
no, of
hates
course
your
not.
guts. Do you want some sausage?
Egon is very confused at the moment. He's like talking to like trying to tell Aisling that no, of course he doesn't. And then he says, "Oh yeah, I'm starving. I really could go for some."
Very well. I will get you some sausages. It's been a while since I got people from the Empire here. So exciting. And he does a little sign, and you see one of the sex workers grabs a plate with some food and drinks and comes to the table.
Oh, finally some good food.
Eat as much as you will, drink as much as you will. There's nothing here that money can't buy, and from what I heard, you got quite a sack there.
Oh yeah. That well, what can I say? I walked in, thought I'd test my luck. Turns out Ranald smiled upon me, and I thought I'd be clever about it and quit while I was ahead before I lost everything.
You were much smarter.
In between mouthful of sausage.
You see as he laughs and says, "You was much smarter than most of the schmucks that come here."
Oh yeah, thanks.
No problem at all. So, where did you come from? I didn't see any new boats arrive today.
Egon sort of nudges Aisling because his mouth is filled with ale and sausage, and he can't actually speak right now.
We came from the other side of the world on a trip here to bring the teachings of Shalia to this nation.
He straight up as he's looking through, he turns his head to look at Egon and turns back to you and says, He doesn't really look Shalian to me, to be really honest.
He's visited my temple quite a bit.
And yet not
Egon-
married.
Egon quickly.
Skimpy man.
Egon quickly adds, "Oh, yeah." He lifts his arm and like pulls the shirt down to show like the massive scar that she stitched together. Yeah, this thing right here, really nasty. She stitched me right up.
Oh, that is good to know.
That is what we do. Heal the
That
body
is-
and the soul.
That is what you do, Ashley. I don't do that. I sell stuff mostly. It's good. That's good. I'm so happy. Actually, now that I think about it, there is a little shrine to Shalia here. By the
Oh?
port, I think. Yeah, not many people like Shalia in this place. Gamblers usually don't really like those that don't gamble, and the rest are unsavory people that Shalia doesn't truly smile upon, or at least in their opinion.
Well, I'm here to change their fortune. With a proper church, we could really grow the worship of Shalia here.
You could, yeah.
Maybe even change these lands and make them less cursed.
I don't think that's happening, but it's very cute that you want to try. Are you
Of
staying
course.
then?
Yes.
Amazing. All right. Do you want to me to find a housing for you? Usually we don't get a lot of people staying here permanently, but you know, we always welcome people.
Oh, just
permanent,
one
though.
night.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
staying for like one night. Yeah, I should have been
Yeah.
clearer. That is fair. That is fair. Very well. Well, I want to give you welcome to Port Reaver. I want to congratulate you on your win and in your non-marriage. Always good. And if you ever need anything, Lusty Jim is more than able to provide. I don't know if you have like a vote of celibacy, but we have a lot of people here that are, standards are very low. You guys are cleaner than most people that enter here. Yeah, straight up Lusty Jim. Yeah.
Okay. Because when I first heard you say it, I thought Lusty Gem. I'm like, I guess, but it's a weird name for a brothel.
See, I thought
Slash
GYM
tavern.
for some reason. I was like, I don't think you'd have to work out in Lustria, but I guess whatever works.
Lusty Gymnasium. I mean,
No, that
it
would be a
kind
clever
of
name.
works.
That
Thinking
would be a
too.
clever name. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
To be fair, yes.
I mean, but then it would have to be a Myrmidian place. So,
Come get in your reps.
Actually, that's what I thought this place was called. So
Oh, okay. We're just full of good names.
I am
Alright,
very
so-
proud of every single one of you.
Yeah. All right. So, well, tell you what, Lusty Jim, if you could get accommodations for myself and well, my priestess friend and 2 others, since no, 3 others. Right. I keep
we have a
forgetting.
lizard with us. Is that okay? And not just this little guy, Tonguey.
Oh, one of the ones from the jungle that burns every single human they see and kill all of us in droves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not very picky.
Okay.
All right.
Egon is slightly taken aback by that response. Can I intuition that? That didn't feel
Yes, of
genuine.
course.
Is this average?
Challenging because it's gonna be contested.
Ah, fair. Do I get a plus on that for having etiquette criminals. I can give myself +1 success level or something.
Sure, yeah. I'll say that applies.
Let's see, and roll. No, just constant 70s.
No sarcasm detected.
Yeah, well, actually, he might roll worse, which I doubt, but if it is opposed.
I am going to make a secret roll for this, just to
Uh,
keep the suspense on. Okay. He seems to have a genuine offer. You see, he has very low standards.
yeah. Well, in that case, he says, right, so 5 of us. Myself, the nun, our hunter buddy, and are they 2 Norsemen? Yeah, they're 2 Norsemen. Right, that's because we got them for a reason. So yes, myself, the nun, our hunter friend Berard, and 2 Norsemen.
All right, that seems fair enough.
What's the price for a night?
He kind of looks upwards and does some counting on his head. It's gonna be. Are you staying in the common room, or do you want a private one for all of you? I have very large rooms.
Common rooms. Well, actually, how much for a private room if it fits all of us?
That would be 10 shillings, but I'm willing to do 8 for the champion today.
6 for a friend. He smiles, even though his
He gives
teeth
you a
are
smile
very
back.
crooked.
Give me a haggle roll.
All right, here goes nothing. And boop, and boop. Seriously?
The dice have a favorite number today.
Yep. Today's session is brought to you by the number 70. But he might fail worse. My haggle is really, really high, considering.
It gives you a smile. Sure, why not?
All right. Egon shakes on it. He notices that he is much weaker than Jim is, and let's see. I need to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. All right. I hand him the 6 shillings and say, "Pleasure doing business with you."
Very well. You can call your friends whenever you want. And he gives a wave, and one of the guys grabs a key and throws. And he grabs and gives you a key. You know, one of those keys for that have this large rectangle of wood.
Yeah, with a number on it.
Yeah, with a number on it.
Yeah.
And there is a number on it. You cannot read, but there is a symbol that you can match to whatever symbol it is.
True.
And he gives it to you and says, "Oh well, anyone that has the key can enter. We don't usually close by night, so whatever you want. If you want to enjoy the pleasures of the city, I don't think you really could enjoy better than here, but you're free to try."
Excellent. All right. Egon swallows the last of the drink. I actually have to do a consume alcohol for that. How strong is this drink? Is it just ale or is it stronger?
What did you choose to drink?
If there was ale, I would have chosen ale. The more watered down, the better.
I'm gonna say because of its ale, unless you're really, really chugging them, there's no need for consume alcohol.
Fair enough. Wow, it's
Just gonna give you more reason to pee, honestly.
more water than alcohol. I take it.
Yeah.
All right.
It is very watered down, but you do notice it is a very, very strong ale.
Cool.
It is
Well-
it would be qualified as an IPA in IPA.
I don't know what that means.
I know a lot about beer, so that was just a
Fair enough.
curiosity for anyone in the chat. But yeah.
Fair enough. I don't know about beer, so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right. So, I escort the lovely priestess up towards our room so that we can get all of our belongings situated away, and then Egon turns to Aisling and says, "We should probably go and find the rest. They've probably gotten themselves into trouble."
Yes, I fully agree with that.
And with that, we put our stuff in, lock the door, and head out into Port Reaver to find the rest of our compatriots.
All right.
But you don't hate me, right?
No. Why
Okay,
would you
good.
think that? Phew, she didn't roll intuition.
No, of course not.
Berard, as you are on the like basically on the port talking to people, you see these like very muscular men and women exchanging beers and talking, and very quickly you realize a lot of them are traders, but trading is not their primary profession. There's just a way about, like, especially after dealing with people as you have, dealing with like people from the Imperial Fleet and things like that, there's a very distinct way that they move and where they rest their hands and how vigilant they are about their surroundings, that you're just like not sure these are people of peace. And as you're exchanging information, from my memory, you rolled like a 5.
Yes, I rolled a 5.
Yeah, I rolled a 5. I'll say this. What do you want to know?
I want to know about what's it's like in the forest around Port Reaver, and then kind of lead that to other places like Skaggy.
As they talk, I'm not gonna do in character just because it's gonna be a lot of information. So just gonna kind of like keep it clean. Port Reaver it is a pirate town. Straight up. Simple as that. It was built by Sartosans, and it is a refuge for pirates to rest. A lot of the people that are here, after you kind of like break the ice, they start telling you none of their exploits in like trading or like dangers that they passed, but the things that they did. And you quickly realize that even the oldest and like meekest of them is a cold-blooded killer of members of the Empire and beyond. The surroundings of Port Reaver are quite safe. For a long time, there hasn't been an attack. A lot of them do remember some attacks from Lizardman or from some attacks from like wildlife. Sometimes there's a big dino that kind of like rampages in the city. People flee for the fortress, they kill it or wait for it to pass, and then they go back to their business. It's kind of like daily not daily, I would say, but like it is usual for them to go for these situations. Swamptown is as you saw it. It's a horrible place made of the people that have lost truly everything in Port Reaver. They have gambled with their money and with very important people's money. So you can imagine that anyone that owes money to pirates is not truly not gonna have a good time here. So a lot of them fled to Swamp Town, and Swamp Town is the basically the dumping ground for Port Reaver. Whenever they have to expel anyone or make them go away, they exile them to Swamp Town, which is basically a death sentence for most people. Skaggy is a little different. Skaggy is a wild place. Skaggy has a centralized government. It has a king, although you don't really get their name. But you are aware that Skaggy has a king, it has a guard, and has a number of ships. It has a bit of a fleet. But Skaggy is ruled by a king, but it is not controlled by the king. Skaggy is very noticeable for not being able to be controlled. It is just like a wild place that is controlled by people that are inside, these little groups of people, these little gangs that run around, and even these very veteran Sartosan pirates, and when I say Sartosan, people that are hail from there, they could come from anywhere in the world. They are hesitant to stay in Skaggy, although trading with Skaggy is common. There's a lot of reasonable people that live in Skaggy. They usually don't last very long. So it's usually people that are selling their belongings before they go into an expedition in the jungle, or for some reason survived. It's also the biggest settlement, and it is a very good place to make a living if you have the power for it. If you're able to carve a place inside Skaggy, and you have the king's, basically the king's blessing, you can do very well. Doesn't really like people from Port Reaver though, so a lot of the people that are from here are like a little hesitant to do business with Skaggy. But there's a lot of things of like, if we could, we would. But we can't, so it's dangerous, so the city sucks. That's kind of the vibe. It's kind of trashing the city because they can't take advantage of it. The surrounding areas are clear. Skaggy is built on top of like a very underwater place, so a lot of the things that they say to you is like, oh, if you're in Skaggy, probably gonna want a boat, because like walking by Skaggy is very hard. Probably gonna want a boat, and you're probably gonna have to do like a little bit of like water traveling as you are in Skaggy, because it is underwater for a long time, especially in the wet season. As for like Skaggy doesn't have, as it says, it doesn't have control, so there's no law. Here in Port Reaver there is law. It is the law of the seas, it is the law of Manan, but it is law. Skaggy just doesn't have it. There's no government, there's no executions, there's just the king and everyone else. And a lot of people, honestly, there's even a sense of respect from the people here. They some of them, especially the more idealistic ones, have this sense of like, it is true strength of the mightiest. It is truly the only place that really, really is wild in this way. And therefore, it would be admirable to live there, but it is a very dangerous place to be, and there's a lot of circumstances that they just kind of don't want to talk about.
Fine. If they still seem open to chatter, I will ask them, what is it about that apothecary man in Swamp Town? Seems odd to find someone with any talent there.
One of the older sailors, he kind of like nods and says, "Aye, he's a weird fella. He came from the Empire a long time ago. He used to set up a shop in Port Weaver, but he left a long time ago.
He got into gambling debt.
Not that I know of. He wasn't run down. He was actually, like, a lot of people miss him. The previous Captain General, he actually asked for him to stay. But he didn't want to.
Very strange.
Captain-in-Chief, by the way, not Captain. I mistook the thing. It says that the previous Captain-in-Chief, he did ask for the apothecary to stay, and he did.
Yeah, I will just gossip with what I will describe finding a pool and then the giant snake coming out to try to eat us all. As the only bit of daring do he has done is escaping from a snake that is giant.
You exchange stories. A lot of them have been on the sea mostly, and not on the forest or anything like that. So you see that a lot of them don't have a lot of knowledge about it. So they are very fascinated by your story. And Tahitakai. As you're circling the Port Reaver, you find something. You find something that kind of catches your attention because it is the first time you saw it here. You find footsteps. You find trails.
What? Whose footsteps? Like what species?
Close to your own. And bigger.
Can I attempt to track them?
You can, if you want to.
I will. What's the modifier?
It's gotta be average.
I will use my 1 fortune point.
It is the end of the session, so that is a good idea.
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah!
Hey, look at that. That's a crit.
Critical success!
It is a very weird kind of vibe. As you're tracking, they seem to be coming from the continent towards Port Reaver. And the path leads to a small, seems like a mine opening on the side of one of the little mountains there is here. Not really a mountain, it's just like one of the mounds that are here. There's a little entrance that seems to be like a cave entrance for a mine or something. That seems to be abandoned. There's a bunch of like broken wood on the entrance. They seem to be leading inside.
I will stealthily follow.
Give me a stealth check.
Okay. What's the modifier?
Challenging, because it is going to be a contested roll.
Okay, and I'm assuming I do not have my arboreal bonus.
Is your entering there? No, it's not going to proc.
Ooh. Not the worst failure.
As you're entering, you step over this little pond, and it has a little bridge over it, and as you're passing, you hear this sudden rush of water beside you, and you see a massive hand grab you by the neck and raise you. As you see a massive Croxagore fully grab you by the neck and raise, with the jaw, massive jaw opening.
It's the guy. No, just kidding.
That's where we're gonna end today's session.
Hooray!
Oh no, my lizard died!
He's fine. Don't
It's
worry.
okay, you have a bigger, cuter lizard coming.
Yep.
That's true. I gotta get me a source.
Well, thank you guys for the session. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A little bit of a cliffhanger, but just because we're gonna have a session tomorrow.
Cliffhanger is always good. Yes. But yeah,
perfect.
for anyone watching, there will be another session tomorrow because we missed last week. So same time, 1 p.m. CST. Tomorrow, Lustria continues, and then we're back to every Thursday.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Ha.
So thank you all for joining. Good session.
Woo!
Bye bye.
Any closing concerns, thoughts, whatever's before we go?
I got none.
You're a boy.
By the way, I don't know if we did this last time, but we should probably change the short-term ambition for the sake of the party to rescue Skaggy captives.
Oh yeah,
That is a good idea.
probably
Yes.
True. Rescue.
100 XP for everyone.